to wait and see now, won't we? And, wait, what's going on? And yeah, it's going to be, starting off at least anyway, it's going to be on Hebrew hygiene and the beard and the hair and the dreads and separating and cleaning and whatnot. People wondering if what's going on? Why can't I? What is up with YouTube? Hang on a sec, gotta check this out. Why won't it let me into the live stream studio? Ah, there it is. Perfect. Okay. I just need to see that I have audio and that I have video, as is tradition. And then we'll get this show on the road. Hang on. Show on the road? Yes, it's the Nazarite, bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. Welcome, welcome, welcome. YouTube is prompting me to start a goal. I don't think I'm going to start a goal, not right now. But what is your goal for today, people, or tonight? Where are you at? Francis is here. How you doing, Francis? Are you in, is it Francesca? Or is it Francis, California? Which one is it? I'm very curious. Right, so let's get into it, right? So Hebrew hygiene. First of all, hygiene is a good thing. To keep the body clean, to keep the body well, to keep the body in a way that's functioning properly on the outside and on the inside, right? We have that idea of the body being the only actual form in which we can perform the commandments. And so it's important to keep the body in good shape. This does mean grooming and cleaning and hygiene. It means exercise. It means diet. That's part of why the kashrut, right, and the dietary laws are a thing. And when it comes to the Nazariteship, the Nazarite is not allowed to use a comb. The Nazarite man or woman are not allowed to use a brush. But people who are Nazarites are allowed to use their fingers and fingertips to separate. I've known Nazarites with locked up hair like mine, and I've known Nazarites with straight long hair because they are separating with their fingers and not letting it mat up and lock up. Both of those are permissible. All it says is that the hair needs to grow wild. It doesn't mean that it has to lock up and get all matted and natty. No, like I said, some Nazarites do let their hair lock up. Other Nazarites do not. But the hair of the beard, for instance, is not part of the Nazarite vow. The hair of the mustache is not part of the Nazarite vow. It is a Hebrew tradition, and it has its own spiritual significance. And I let my hair grow wild, I let my beard grow wild, but there are those who say that no, part of hygiene and presentability should be also trimming the beard, grooming the beard. So I do use beard oil occasionally, essential oil, not designated beard oil, and shampoo. Right, when I shampoo my hair, I also shampoo the beard, work it into the surface of the skin. The mustache is the only thing that I trim regularly. I trim the mustache and I leave the upper lip exposed because I want to be able to kiss better and eat better, and it can get in the way. That's why the only thing I trim is the mustache. As for other types of grooming, it does depend, halachically speaking, who you follow as far as rabbinic law is concerned. There are some people who say that if in your culture, in your tradition, it is customary for women to remove certain hair from certain places, men should not do that in order to keep the equality but the segregation of the biological sexes. And others would say probably, no, your body, your choice. If you want to groom, you may groom. You want to remove hair, you may remove hair. The only thing is, according to the Torah, you're not allowed to remove hair and rip it out of the root, not shave off with a razor the corners of the beard. An Orthodox man is not commanded to grow a beard. They can use a shaver, an electric shaver, which keeps it really, really close, but does not rip the hair actually out from the root. So those were a few minutes on hygiene. Hey, AA is here. Jack is here. Jamie is here. Tristan is here. Scott Anderson is here. Yusuf is here. Do you stupid? Oh my God. I stupid with the best of them, Yusuf. I stupid like it ain't no thing. I stupid like it's the Olympics. I stupid like I chose it as a career. I stupid like it's a goal. I stupid as if it's the epitome of all things that are glorious and wondrous in the world. As if stupidity is a paragon of virtue and loveliness. And I do stupid. Oh my God, do I stupid. I stupid 24/7, yo. Do you speak English and Hebrew at the same level? Yes, I'm bilingual, AA. So the women have wild hair also. Again, it depends. A Nazarite woman can let her hair lock up, or she can separate with her fingers and fingertips. But there are Nazarites who let the hair lock up. There are Nazarites who don't. There was this question, I'm assuming, at some point, of the mikveh, right? The ritual pool. Because if you are not a Nazarite woman, you're not allowed to have any knots in your hair. But since the Nazariteship is something where the hair itself is consecrated, I would think the Nazarite woman can let her hair lock up and not worry about any type of blockage when she goes to the mikveh to purify herself. But yes, women Nazarites would have wild hair also, not necessarily locked up, but they would not be able to cut it, they would not be able to shave it, they would not be able to intentionally use a comb or a brush to maintain it, and nor would it be permissible to rip hairs out of the root with your hands or with your hair. You're allowed to separate. In the halachic term, it's called lefaspes. Nice to see you again. How often do you stream? Almost every day, Tristan. Almost every day. What is Kabbalah Judaism? Kabbalah is the study of the 10 Sfirot, BGRT. The 10 Sfirot, the Kabbalistic tree of life, is the ways through which God is revealed in the world. And the Kabbalah literally in Hebrew means to receive. And so the lore of the 10 Sfirot, the study of the 10 Sfirot, it's as if you are studying the very blueprint of existence, the very blueprint of creation, the blueprint of your own physical form, the blueprint of this world and the other worlds. And by knowing the relationship between the different divine revelations and between the different divine emanations and where you stand in relation to them, you get to know yourself better. And it is our job to emulate those divine attributes, to give everything its proper time and its proper place. The Kabbalah, in its universal sense, that's what that is. In its more particular Jewish sense, it's how to carry out the commandments in such a way that the energy that will be revealed in the world and the presence of God that will be revealed in the world will be more accurate and more, the Kabbalists are like surgeons in that sense. Hey, Jake Matt is here. How you doing? Jamie says, Judah roaming the earth looking for devils and demons to devour, and his brother Joseph. Well, I don't roam around looking for devils or demons, nor am I from the tribe of Judah. I am from the kingdom of Judah. In the air, helping Judah and both helping Christ advance his kingdom on earth and is in heaven. Now, is this a quote you're quoting? I'm curious, Jamie. Happy birthday. Thanks, it's not my birthday. I just felt like wearing a silly hat. Let's continue. Greetings, my online Hebrew Nazarite friend. Hey, Ryan, how you doing? I hope you're doing all right. Greetings indeed. I learned a lot listening. I mean, I'm not here to teach, right? I'm here to talk to people. But there have been people who've reached out in comments and in the chat and in the DMs who've said that it's been beneficial and that there have even been a couple of Orthodox Jews who tune in. One of them said, I grew up Orthodox and I always thought that I basically had a grasp on everything more or less, but every time I tune into your live stream, I learn something that I didn't know, which is wonderful. It's beautiful, really, that's a thing. Greetings, silly man, or is it just the hat that is silly? Oh no, Insane Witch, I am a silly man wearing a silly hat in a silly situation. Are you Jesus? No, Samsung, I am not. Why you wearing that crown, dank V5Y? Just for the yucks, for the lulz. That's it. Just because I like wearing get-ups and silly hats and costumes. DJ Jude Rasta. No, I'm not a Rastafarian, but there are similarities and some overlap between the Rastafarians and the Hebrew practitioners, right, and the Hebrew people. Jamie says, Australia, giant flying winged phoenix taking out dragon on satellite map of Australia turned upside down. Do you have your head in the sand? Well, that went way over my head, and so in regards to what you just said, Jamie, yes, my head is buried deep, deep in the sand. Definitely. Can you tell us what doctrine you live by? The Torah and the commandments, as we are commanded as Hebrew people. That is the doctrine, to keep the Torah, to keep the commandments, to cleave to the Hebrew covenant, to try to be a good person, try to help yourself and those around you, right? To live humbly and righteously and walk before God. That is the Torah in a nutshell. That is the doctrine. And this is also the doctrine that Moses is really, really trying to drill into the minds and hearts and eyes and ears of the children of Israel before he leaves them. We are now at the final book of Deuteronomy, right? In the annual reading of the Torah, a couple of weeks ago, we've arrived at Sefer Devarim, at the book of Deuteronomy, where it's basically three major speeches conducted by Moses, carried out, spoken by Moses, three or maybe four major speeches that the book of Deuteronomy is comprised of. And in this week's Torah portion, Re'eh, which is look, or see, or behold, where it starts off with the warning, like, behold, I have given you life and death, I've given you a blessing and a curse. Choose wisely. Choose the Torah, not just for yourselves, but for those who come after you. What coffee do you like to drink? Hey, Terminal Man, good to see you again. I drink just regular black coffee, and occasionally I'll have an espresso. Again, no milk, no sugar, no cream. I just like it black. But just, plain old jar of instant, freeze-dried, whatever. Here I have Nestle's Taster's Choice, I believe. The Barista or the regular? I think it's the Barista. Nestle's Taster's Choice Barista. But we do have a little coffee machine here that occasionally I use. And back when I was working at the office regularly, I used to love getting espresso over there. The Bianco Forte? Yes, Bianco Forte was my go-to. Why is he wearing a princess crown? Kitten says, because I am a princess. Is that not clear? Y'all should be addressing me as Her Royal Highness or Your Royal Highness. Nazarite, huh? When will you be lifted up on the Asherah pole? Has a date been set? No, there are no longer Asherah poles in the country and land of Israel. There were many Asherot for a very long time. Different trees, right, and different things, where Asherah was the counterpart of Baal. Asherah was the counterpart of Yod-Heh Vav-Heh, when it was still a Canaanite god of storm, right? The storm god. So yes. I took a Nazarite vow. So Knuosal, I don't plan on being strung up on an Asherah pole, or any other pole for that matter, though I don't know what might come to pass. Hey, Snuffles is here. Hey, Snuffles. Or should I say, Mr. Black? How old were you when you learned about the Holocaust? Grade school, Sudlush. Grade school. How old was I? I mean, there's the Holocaust Remembrance Day, the day of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, which is designated as the Day of Remembrance. So, at a very, very young age, did I learn about the Holocaust. Now, that there was something. Later on, there was movies and all kinds of testimonies, and I spoke several times to Holocaust survivors who came to the school. He's a princess now. Yes, I am. Burger King crown? No, Snuffles. It's not a Burger King crown. It's just a prop. My woman is a woman of theater. We have many props and costumes and different hats all around the house. A Burger King hat, incidentally, I wore a Burger King hat. I got married just before sundown, and that entire day I was walking around with my two guard and groomsmen, if you will, my melavim, my shomrim, and my witnesses under the chuppah, Tzvi and Elisha. Love you guys. And I had a Burger King crown on, and I walked around with my guitar. That was fun. Not talking to you, my man. Not talking to you. Fergus is here. All religious stuff have taken stuff from religion, Jews, Christians, Musis, etc., a mix of all. Yes, people take different lore, let's say, or teachings from others. The Hebrew faith took certain names of God from the Canaanite pantheon. The Hebrew faith took certain ideas from Canaan and from Egypt. The thing is that we sort of koshered them, if you will, and made them into part of the Hebrew faith. And in doing so, we sort of made them our own, not to say that we came up with it. But for instance, certain names of the divine one Hebrew God, right? Of the Most High God, where in the Canaanite pantheon were names of individual deities, we said, okay, we'll borrow that name because there is such an attribute. The difference is that they consider that to be a standalone deity, whereas we consider this to be simply a divine revelation and a way through which God is revealed in the world. So we give it a name and we designate an attribute associated with it, but we do not make the mistake of thinking that this is actually a separate deity. And so yes, I believe it happens in many different cultures and faiths and religions where people borrow from one another, improve upon it, innovate, some say appropriate. Jamie says, show your Jewish rabbi, mate. Seriously, here to help. Love the Jews. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I don't know what you say about the show your Jewish rabbi. I don't know what you mean by that, but okay. Turkish says, yo, how the fuck are your dreads so long? I simply haven't cut my hair in about 18 years. That's how. Damn, you guys learned about the Holocaust in grade school. Yes, I mean, we didn't watch Schindler's List in grade school, or The Escape from Sobibor in grade school, or other Holocaust movies and documentaries, or Shoah, the 8-hour documentary. That wasn't in grade school. That comes much later. Yo, Rasta Master, want to smoke a blunt together? No, I am a fan of marijuana, but I do not partake. I will probably partake again in the future, but for a while now I have not partaken of the herb. Yes, I'm a fan, respect the herb, respect the substance, respect your body, respect your mind. May you be a high-functioning stoner and not a low-functioning pothead. He's a true Rasta, says Shadow. Well, I mean, I don't worship Rastafari as a god incarnate, nor am I part of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, so I'm not a true Rasta in that sense. But the Rastas do take on a Nazarite vow, and I am a Hebrew Nazarite, and in that sense, yes, there are many similarities. I also try to live that Aital, if you will, life, right, of being a vegan. So there is some correspondence between Rastafari and the Hebrew faith, and the Nazarite vow in particular, and the Hebrew Nazarites. Azerbaijan supports Israel. Thank you, iUseTube. I believe you should support humanity and all creation as such. Support the good side of creation. Is that a Van Gogh behind you? No, Vigil. All the art we have in the house is relatives of my mother. We have paintings and drawings and sketches here all over the walls from my mother-in-law, her mother, and her mother. So a few generations of artists, then we have their paintings here up on the wall. And a few other things as well. Venetian masks, right? My lady is a woman of theater. Venetian masks from Italy, from Venice, one or two of them that are up on the wall, and a couple of other things, and a couple of things that I myself did that are not over here, but in a different room. So yeah, as well as a print by, since I mentioned one of the guards, one of my groomsmen, one of my shomrim, Elisha, his father is an artist, is a painter. And I have one of his prints framed in our bedroom. The print is called The Holiest of Holies, that's the painting, and it is the two cherubs on top of the Ark of the Covenant as they were about to kiss. What if you're wrong? Ken kill Cam. I'm not saying that I'm right. So if I'm wrong, no skin off my ass, neither here nor there. Because I don't claim to be right, then it doesn't matter to me if I'm wrong. I'm living a life that I see as right for me. And it's malleable, and I go with the flow, and I pick and choose, right? I pick and choose. I'm a cherry picker, I'm a man of cafeteria faith, and I make no apology. So if I'm wrong, at worst, it's either I sort of wasted a life theologically, but practically speaking, being a Nazarite, being vegan, living the life the way that I do, where I try to do no harm, I don't see any harm in that. I really don't. So if I'm wrong, great, that's fine. I don't mind being wrong because I don't consider myself to be right. Would you consider yourself religious or secular? Neither. I'm just a plain Hebrew man, and no more, no less. I grew up religious in Jerusalem, right? Modern Orthodox in Jerusalem. And until my mid-20s, I kept very strict rabbinic law. But then because of different things that were going on in Israel, different things that were going on inside of me, things that I was experiencing, I decided to stop keeping strict rabbinic law. Certain things it didn't seem that they did not align with my views and my values, and it's not something I did on a whim, it's not something that I did overnight, it's not something that I just decided to, and I didn't throw the baby out with the bathwater either. But I don't consider myself religious because I have no rabbi that I go to regularly. I don't adhere to strict rabbinic law. So I don't consider myself secular or religious. I consider myself traditional and adventurous. Great, switch them drawings once in a while, says Vigil. Actually, no, these have been here for a very long time. There are others. We do have actually others upstairs that we haven't hung up yet, and we've lived here for what, 3 years now? 2-3 years in this apartment? Is South Park right? Do you have nuggets of gold in your pocket, says Steve. Nope, the only gold I have is this right here. That's the only gold that I have. And, David, wish I knew you in person. You're awesome. You do know me in person. Sure, it's a digital projection, David G, but you do know me in person. This is me. This is not a persona, right? This is just me shooting the breeze, having conversations. To that degree, yeah, you do know me in person, so to speak. Go wash your beard, bro. I did less than an hour ago. So I should wash it again? That's what you're saying? What would that do? It's already clean. Here, I'll get it really close to the camera. No gook, no muck, no dirt, no beardruff. I washed it an hour ago. Do you like pizza? Yes, Sadlush, I do, but because I'm vegan, I haven't had pizza in about 16 years, or just over 16 years, and there are some great vegan pizzas, but I don't consider that to be an actual pizza. Yes, I do like pizza very much. Would it be nice for an Orthodox Christian to live in Jerusalem? Very nice. I see them all the time. Different Christians and different monks and friars. So yeah, I think it would be. Now, there are obviously some neighborhoods that are ultra Orthodox that may not take too kindly to Christians, unfortunately. Some of them, not all of them. So um, there have been horrible incidents of people spitting on Christians just for the sake of being Christian, which I think is awful. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So it would be nice. What do you think? Do you think for a Christian it would be nice to live in Jerusalem? That's not bathwater, says Halico. Halico? No, Halcyon Sabbath. That's not bathwater because that stuff doesn't clean. It's bad soap if it's false gospel. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Amen, brother, then I wish you knew me. There you go. Is that the crown from King David? Hey, great noticer is here. I don't know. I don't think it's King David's crown, no. Do you think fish should be allowed to join the IDF? Mulby says. Yes, fish do join the IDF sometimes, and they are served as a meal to the soldiers and the civilians working at the military bases. So, or if you're in some outpost and you have a fridge or a freezer and there's frozen fish sticks or something there, or fish schnitzel, then yes, fish are allowed to join the IDF. The thing is that they are already dead when they join. So does that really count as them joining? I don't know, but they are consumed, and in doing so, they join the IDF. My beard is longer, says Jamie. Yes, there are many beards that are longer than mine. My God, I'm sick and tired of Jews. I'm sick of you all. Sick society, says Danielle. Here's to you, l'chaim, to your good health. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, she'akol nihye b'dbaro. Okay. I'll mute my phone. Just a moment. Mute. Okay. Yes. Sick and tired of Jews. You're not the only one. Sick of you all. You're not the only one. Sick society. You're not the only one who says it. I happen to think that you are mistaken, but feel free to think it. What is street and market food like in Jerusalem? It is wonderful, whether it's the Muslim shuk, right, the Muslim open market, or the Ben Yehuda open market, right, that's in the old city, that's towards the new city. I mean, the street food, you know, things like falafel and things like shawarma and things like me'orav. I mean, I as somebody who doesn't partake of animal products, I am less in the know, but the street and market food has always been really awesome. Really, truly, all the different cheeses and dips and all the different meats and the grills. Many things that I don't partake of, but I have in the past to some degree, and I know that they can be exceedingly succulent and juicy and lovely and wonderful and life-sustaining. So yeah. That was Mossad reminding him of an upcoming conference call. Yes, it was. Although, once again, people, Mossad is international. I am in Jerusalem local. So it's not Mossad that would be with me. It's Shin Bet or police or border patrol. Okay, Mossad is international. I am here local. Get that through your head. Dozer, hey Dozer, good to see you again. Have you ever shaved or cut any hair on your body your whole life? Like, do Jews never cut hair? Or what is the rules like with that? So that's what I spoke of 20-something minutes ago when I started. But just the bottom line is, according to the halacha that you follow, they will tell you if you are allowed to groom or not. There are some halachic rulers that say that if you have in your society, in your tradition, and in your culture, the idea that women remove certain hair, then a man is not allowed to remove that hair because of keeping the segregation and the equality between the biological sexes. They have their ways, you have your ways. On the other hand, there are those who would say, no, halachically there's no problem, unless you are shaving off with a razor the corners of your beard and other things that are not permissible according to Torah. You are allowed to use a shaver, you are allowed to use a trimmer, a groomer, whatever it may be, for any part of your body. But it depends on which halacha you follow. So Jews definitely do cut their hair. The Nazarite man or woman is commanded to let their hair grow wild and free. Gadel pera se'ar rosho. The hair on his head should grow wild. But Jews do get haircuts. Many of them, most of them, I dare say, get haircuts. Do some Jewish women shave their hair and wear wigs? Yes, they do. Certain Hasidic sects, I think Satmar is the most prominent one among them, but others may exist as well. So some Jewish women shave their hair when they marry, and they wear wigs, or just a head covering. The wig is another halachic example of a controversy and a difference of opinion that is very fierce, because there are those who say, no, a married woman should have her hair covered. It's a question of chastity and of modesty. And if you put on a wig that looks beautiful and glorious and gorgeous, and that is meticulous, and that would be attention drawing, then you're kind of, yes, are you covering your hair? Yes. Are you being modest? Maybe not, because you're covering your hair with something which in itself draws the male gaze and the woman and the female gaze, for that matter. And so I'm not talking about women doing things for men or as a precursor or as a countermeasure or as a preemptive thing. No. I'm talking about simply the halachic rulers. Some say that a woman should have her hair covered in this way and in that way, using this or that, a kerchief or a some sort of a snoot or a title. But others say, no, as long as her original hair is covered. And even if the wig she is wearing is beautiful, gorgeous, and the sexiest hair you've ever seen, people are aware of the fact that it is not her hair. And that in and of itself already takes the sexual sting, if you will, out of the whole thing. But it is an ongoing controversy between different halachic rulers and scholars on whether or not a wig is permissible in the eyes of the Torah and of halacha. But yes, some women shave their hair and wear wigs. Some women put their hair in a bun and wear a wig. Some women keep their hair and wear like a bandana with the hair out, spilling out on the back. Some cover their entire head, some like with a turban-like thing, or something else where the entirety of the hair is covered. So there are different halachic rulings, and you go by what your rabbi says if you do have a rabbi. Shalom, sweetie. Shalom to you, Pismi. Pismeyeken Korbaga. Let's go with Pismi. That's better. No offense, but When do you think the temple is going to be rebuilt? When we rebuild it. That's when it will be rebuilt. Or, as skill, when we come to such a time that we will be able to bypass the building, right? Bypass the need for physical ritual worship. Bypass the need for sacrificial offerings, be they animal or vegan. We will be able, God willing, to bypass that. Remember Eden. In Eden there was no temple. In Eden there were no offerings. In Eden there was no altar. In Eden there was veganism. Does Judaism encourage charity? Yes, it does. Very much so. It's the idea that starts with the tithe, that's the 10th, right, the ma'aseh, but it goes on, and the Torah says that if there is somebody that you can afford to give to, don't give so much that then you yourself are in danger of needing charity. There are boundaries, again, in rabbinic law and in halacha on how much a man ought to give according to strict rabbinic law. If I'm not mistaken, you're allowed to give up to a fifth of all of your possessions. And your material wealth or finances or whatnot. But not more, I believe, than a fifth. Though I might be mistaken. I believe it's a fifth. And a tithe is something that should be given year after year. It depends. Some people do it, some people don't do it. It depends. I try to do it. But yes, the Torah does encourage charity. Right? Which means that returning, right, atoning, and giving charity and prayer and meditation and fasting, these are the things that can make the bad decrees, the evil decrees, the negative decrees not come to pass. We are the temple, precisely missionary, right? We are made in the image of God. We are the original dwelling place of that divine breath of life. We are that temple. And so with the degradation of the generations and the ongoing, history and everything, ritual worship had to come into the fold. Animal sacrifices had to come into it, right? But originally in Eden, there was no such thing. There was no such thing. Oh, so good. Do you fast? Yes, I do, Robbie. If so, for how long, and do you still drink water? So there are 5 or 6 different fasts throughout the Hebrew calendar. And 5 of them, 4 of them, no, 5 of them really, are fasts of mourning, meaning of woe and of tragedy and of destruction and exile. And 1 fast of joy, that is the fast of Yom Kippur, of the Holiday of Atonement, Chag HaKippurim. So I do fast all of those. Some of them are from sunrise to sundown. Some of them are from sundown till sundown, 25 hours roughly. So I do fast. And in those fasts, you are not allowed to drink water. Of course, if there's some sort of medical need, you're not feeling well, of course, you can. And even then, halachically speaking, if you want to follow strict halacha, there are measures, right? And you have different quantities of water that you can drink, depending on how you feel, depending on what the doctor says, whatever. So yeah. Do you believe we must desire to go back to the garden? Crazy says. Hi, Crazy Cat Corner. Must? No, we must do nothing. We are encouraged in the Torah to live life in such a way that will facilitate this coming together of all humanity and arrival back at the path of the tree of life that was put under guard, but never outright forbidden. The fruit of the tree of life was never forbidden, not in Eden nor after the expulsion. The path was put under guard. And should we arrive, and when we arrive, God willing, as a unified human race, by our own merit, because we earned it this time. It wasn't simply that we were created in Eden. We made Eden come to be. We made it happen. That would be the greatest achievement, right? And the guards will become guides, right? The cherubs and the flaming turning sword, instead of being guardians of a path that we may not approach, they will be the ones who will guide us towards that creation phase 2, partaking of the fruit of the tree of life, death being taken out of existence in Eden, just like it came into existence in Eden. No internet in the garden. So, not necessarily. Not necessarily, because, madman, there are those who say that the world to come, that humanity phase 2, creation phase 2, and is just going to be a kind of eternal life, right? The afterlife is not what happens after you die. The afterlife is what happens after you live. The afterlife is what happens after you partake of the fruit of the tree of life. Right now it's a duality, life and death, womb to tomb, good and evil. That's the nature of this existence. When we partake of the fruit of the tree of life, that is not a duality, that is a singularity. And so some say that it will be a whole other thing. Others say, no, the world will keep on turning, but we will simply be elevated to a different degree of consciousness, which means that the Wi-Fi will still be running and the internet will still be working. I'm drinking coffee, S-Grill. Israel chai tea. No, I am a fan of chai tea, but no, I'm not drinking chai. Jew hygiene, does that consist of using bagels as a loofah? You know, it might. I've never used one. It would seem too rough, especially if it's toasted beforehand. What does Am Yisrael Chai? It means the people of Israel live, user N? Yes, user N-O. Yes. You need a silver crown, not pink, says JJ. No, I'm good with this. I'm good with this. Yeah, let's turn it a little bit. There we go. Oh no, you don't like duality. It's not that I don't like duality. That is the nature of this world. I only simply say that there is something beyond the duality, right? Consider the triangle, where you have a root. As soon as it splits, even a tiny bit, it's already a duality, that then its trajectory goes to the ends of the spectrum. But at the top of that pyramid, there is a root. At the top of that pyramid, of that triangle, there is a singularity. What are your thoughts on Zionism, says TR. I am a Zionist, a biblical Zionist and a modern-day Zionist, but I do not excuse what everybody might do in the name of Zionism. I think that you can't do something that's abhorrent and terrible and atrocious and then slap the label of Zionism on it and make it kosher, ethical, or moral. That's not how that works. So it's not a question of if I like duality or not. It's simply the nature of this world. Hello, princess. Hey, Philonetic. Hello. How you doing? Today, says Vasudeepa, who cares? If your parents want something, be that. It's bare minimum for God. Honoring parents, not head, is commandment by real God. Yes, honoring your mother and your father is important. Should it come at the expense of you being who you are supposed to be? Really? Now, to some degree, yes. To a very large degree, no. No, honoring your mother and your father should not always come at the expense, not of the ego, but of who you are, right? We already are, metaphorically speaking, under the thumb of our parents, sometimes even after death. After their death, I mean. I know that the psychoanalysts have said, some of them anyway, that you cannot truly be a real man as long as your father lives. You cannot be a true woman as long as your mother lives, right? That higher mother, that higher father that is still alive. You will feel their judgment. You will feel their criticism. You will feel their disappointment. You will feel their... Well, it depends on the parents. But why is that the psychoanalysts, some of them at least, said that you truly cannot be your own you while your parents are still alive? Because they are that archetypal, right, king and queen. They are the archetypal higher masculine and feminine. So until they are gone from the earth in their physical form, you cannot truly come into your own. Now, there are those who said, no, 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 it can be a metaphorical death. It can be a symbolic death of you disconnecting from them and realizing that they are just another living human creature. Honoring them, sure, but understanding that they are simply parents and they did the best they could with what they had, and that's it. And you can forgive them, you can resent them, you can confront them, you can go no contact with them, whatever you need to do, you got to do. But understanding that they are just people and not gods, so to speak, psychoanalytically speaking, it means that they don't have to die for you to come into your own being. They don't have to actually physically be dead and buried in the earth or burned in an incinerator for you to truly say, now I can be that which I long to be, want to be, could be, should be, would be. Are you optimistic about humanity? Naively optimistic, stupidly, blindly, horribly optimistic about humanity? Yes, because I think that to the degree that we can do evil, wickedness, and malevolent, and introduce malevolence into the world, we can spread kindness and grace and benevolence and righteousness. Yeah. Are you Rapunzel? She-Devil says. No, I am a princess, but I'm not in a tower. And so, no, I'm not Rapunzel, but I am a fan. I am a fan. I loved Tangled. That was a good movie. S. Grill says, is homosexuality accepted in Judaism? So I've spoken of this many times. I'll give you the brief bottom line. The oral Torah prohibits any type of homosexuality and same-sex relationships. The written Torah prohibits full penetrative anal sex between two Hebrew men. That's it. So yes, some people claim Tel Aviv is the gay capital of the world. It is one of the gay capitals of the world. It's one of the most gay-friendly cities in the world, Tel Aviv. Jamie says he's okay, he's not creepy, I've seen worse. Okay, cool. And I mean, I can definitely be creepy. Hey, princess. Hi, William. What is the difference between a Jew, Israelite, and a Hebrew? So a Jew is someone who is a remnant of the kingdom of Judah. The kingdom of Judah comprised of Judah, Benjamin, and parts of Levi. Most of the Jews never made it back from exile. Not the Babylonian one, not the Greek one, Assyrian one, or Edomite one, however you want to count the different exiles. Most of them, they always came back less than they left. That's a Jew, a remnant of the kingdom of Judah. An Israelite is somebody who is a member of the tribes of Israel, the 12 tribes, right, of Israel. And a Hebrew can mean something specifically in the context of Israel. It means the Israelites, the Hebrews. They are called Hebrews because of Avram the Hebrew, and that already is a more universal thing. A Hebrew, conceptually speaking, at heart anyway, not in the sense of keeping the Torah and the commandments given to the children of Israel. Hebrew, conceptually speaking, one of the interpretations of the word Hebrew, when Avram is mentioned, before he's Abraham, when he's Avram, and he is mentioned as Avram the Hebrew, Avram ha-Ivri, and there are different interpretations of why Avram was called the Hebrew. And one of them is because the Hebrew, Ever, means side. He was on one side and everybody else was on the other side. And he did his own thing. He went all in on his faith. He received a calling from the Most High God and he went with it, forsaking his pagan ways, forsaking his family back in Ur-Kasdim, right, Mesopotamia, they say, forsaking everything and following the calling and going on an adventure and becoming that father of nations, right, and receiving the covenant and all of that, several covenants for that matter. And that, in essence, conceptually speaking, is a Hebrew, somebody who considers themselves somewhat solipsistically so, to be on one side and everybody else on the other side, you against the world. You're on one side of the river, they are on the other side of the river. You know, not in an antagonistic or aggressive way, simply as a way of looking at the world, which is why Avram, right, the monotheist, is called Avram ha-Ivri. So conceptually speaking, the Hebrew is a little bit different than the other two. Practically speaking, people use them interchangeably because the Jews are members of the tribes of Israel. The tribes of Israel are the people, right, are the Hebrews, and so they are used interchangeably, though there are similarities and differences between them. You're literally the definition of a Jew meme. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Most High God, how many were there? There were and are still many gods. The Hebrew people simply go with that one Hebrew God. Only $2 to comb his beard? No, I don't usually comb it. Occasionally I do, but usually I don't. Can't stay for long, but greetings to Jonathan and everyone. Hey, Alex D, thank you for dropping by. Kurt Hill says, thank you for your wisdom. It's not mine. I'm standing on the shoulders of very wise giants. So yeah, there are other gods. There were other gods, and there are other gods. It's simply that the children of Israel had forsaken them. That's it. Josh says, you're really cute. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. Ding. Pardon me. Thank you for explaining Avram, or Abram. Yes, it's a V, not a B, but people say Abram. Yes, Avram means mighty father. And later on he received that Hey, Avraham. Let us continue. Turtle dove, says Jamie, Jacob on one side of sacrifice and pigeon Esau. Oh, turtle dove and pigeon on the other side of sacrifice. What do you mean, turtle dove and pigeon? Both are kosher animals. Both are kosher. Both can be eaten. Such a happy merchant. Yes, I am, So-So. I am indeed a happy merchant. In an ugly Jew way. Yes, indeed, I am ugly. I have my ugly sides on the outside. I have my ugly sides on the inside. Things on the outside, I don't plan on really doing anything about them if they are inherent and if I've earned them, let's say. But the ugliness on the inside is an ugliness that I am trying day by day, thought by thought, word by word, deed by deed, to make myself better, right? And to have less ugliness and more, not beauty, but to act in such a way where I will be less ugly on the inside, and that will be manifested also on the outside, to the degree that it can be. Doesn't the book of Isaiah say there's only one God and he doesn't know of any other gods? Well, first of all, the book of Isaiah is a book of prophecy that does not go against the Torah. And the Torah definitely does say that in this week's Torah portion, last week's Torah portion, Elohei ha-Elohim ve'Adonai ha-Adonim, right, which is the God of gods and the King of kings and the Lord of lords, right, that thing. So the Torah does indeed say that there are other gods. People do worship the sun and the moon and the stars and the fish and the rocks and the trees. They do. That's simply not our way. That's all the Torah says. That they do their thing, you do your thing, and that's the way we roll. But there definitely are other sorts of divine revelations that some perceive as deities. The Hebrew people do not. They perceive those as revelations, garments, clothing through which God is revealed in the world. Other people might perceive these garments, these clothings, these emanations and say, no, 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 that is a deity in and of itself, a force of nature, a force of being, something along those lines that they deify. But the Torah says, you, Hebrews, must not do that. Hello, King. Good day, sir. Hey, OG. How you doing? Burger Queen? That's me, Pega. I am the Burger Queen. So your Zionism is the ugliest any human can be, says Jade. Some people say that. I wholeheartedly disagree. What I don't disagree with is that there are horrible people, ugly people, doing ugly, horrible things in the name of Zionism. Those people, I condemn them and their actions. That is not proper Zionism as I perceive it, though I might be wrong. Jamie says, Esau sold out his own inherent covenant birthright promises, and Yahweh rejected Esau, and he also mixed his own DNA blood seed with foreign nations of peoples and Ishmael's seed DNA blood. Well, let's put it this way. There is the prophecy of God, God's revelation hating Esau. I think that was said at the time, and I do think that the house of Ishmael is blessed, for it received a blessing. The house of Esau is blessed, for it received a blessing. The house of Israel is blessed, for it received a blessing. And very much in the tradition of the tree of life and the 10 sefirot, where you have the middle pillar and the right pillar and the center pillar, that is right Islam and Christianity and the Hebrew faith. And so all three of them are blessed, let's say. Humanity in and of itself is blessed. Whatever house or religion or faith or patriarch you attribute yourself to, it doesn't matter. These are allegorical stories, archetypal stories, some say actually accurately historical stories. The point is there is wisdom to be gleaned from the stories in the Torah, regardless of whether or not they happened. And so when we look at it that way, we try to extrapolate and understand where we sit and in relation to all of this, all of them are blessed. It's all a question of, do you embrace the blessing or the curses? And this is what Moses says in this week's Torah portion of Re'eh. I gave you a blessing and a curse. Death and life. Choose life, right? Choose life. That would be better for you, for those around you, those who come after you. That is how you will thrive. That is how you will prosper. If you choose life, if you stick to the Torah and the commandments therein, if you cleave to that covenant and truly make it your own and walk humbly and righteously before God. And this can also be for Ishmael, it can also be for Esau, right? Be a good person, try to do good things. Even, things that one religion might consider good, another religion considers an abomination. So I will say start with what is universally considered good, like objectively, to the degree that one can think objectively of such terms, in absolutes, because there are no absolutes. But that's what I think anyway. So if you're talking about Adonai rejecting Esau, I believe it may be only for a time. I think that humanity was chosen, made in the image of God. And though we have fractionated and we are all aiming at the same place eventually, we are all aiming right at that glory of the coming of the Lord, if you will, and the pouring of God's Spirit upon all flesh. May it come to pass, may it be so. Do Jews take antibiotics? I believe they do, if they are required and if they are prescribed. Sometimes, maybe even if they're not prescribed, if they have them in the medicine cabinet. Yes, Jews do take antibiotics. Are there Jews that won't for some reason? Likely, but yes. Can I ask you a question about the Jewish faith? Yes, Bill, you may. That's what we're doing here. Is it possible to make a golem? Yes, it is, Joe. It is possible to make a golem if you are such a practical Kabbalist. I am not a practical Kabbalist or a Kabbalist of any kind. Are you allowed to take Viagra? Yes, you are, Matt Bach. Yes, you are. What is the weed like in Israel? Hey, Jackson Moon, good to see you again. The weed in Israel is very good, export quality, I say. Of course, they probably do still import some strains, but the medicinal marijuana industry and the cannabis farms in Israel are said by those who know, because I don't, to be really, really excellent. Well, that just fell, seemingly out of nowhere. Crazy says, love Yahweh with all thy heart and all thy mind, and treat thy neighbor as thyself. And that is very good. That is very good. I agree. Any good? Yes, it is. I learned that murder and killing are two different aspects. Yes, the Torah says, lo tirtzach, thou shalt not commit murder. It doesn't say, lo taharog, thou shalt not kill. That is correct. Killing is permissible in matters of war and self-defense. So, yeah. Mike says, good morning. It is currently cowboy time here. People, fill me in. I'm ignorant. What is cowboy time? Is it dawn? Is it high noon? What is cowboy time? Are there many homeless people in Jerusalem? No, not many. There are, but not many. There is, right, the municipality usually takes care. There are homeless shelters and different places for them to go, and soup kitchens and things of that nature. Not many homeless people in Jerusalem, no. Hey, Stephanie is here. Love the crown. Thanks a bunch, Stephanie. Is that a Timu crown? My wife got it, and I have no idea where. I don't know. We have so many props and crowns and costumes and things around the house, and most of them I have no idea where she gets them. What do they do with the notes in the Western Wall? Most of them are thrown away. That's what is done. That's just a custom. It's not halachically binding. It's just a custom, a tradition, but that's it. You have demons in your house, says the great noticer. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. There are demons likely around me even here right now as I'm speaking, but I do not have the sight to see them. Incidentally, in the Talmud, in one of the areas that do not pertain specifically to rabbinic law, but as like an aside, there's a ritual there that you can carry out that's written, and it will allow you, they say, to see that which is hidden from you. But it is not recommended to do so because it could drive you insane to see all of the different spiritual beings of the positive and the negative that are inhabiting on a different plane of existence the same space, let's say, in time that you are right now. Yeah. You look wise, sir. Looks can be deceiving. Kent 81060. I am, thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. Just finished my door supervisor coursework. I'm gonna be a bouncer. Hey, good for you. So what is the essential bouncer lore? I'd love to hear it, so. Yes, the Ten Commandments literally say murder, not kill. That is correct. Halcyon Sabbath. That is correct. Does God read those notes in the Great Wall of the Jews? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know God. All I know is how God reveals himself to me. And if there is a revelation of reading, possibly so. Possibly so. Hey, Mac Orange is here. How you doing, man? I'm sorry, but that ritual sound tempting. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? To finally see, to finally lift the veil, even if it's at the cost of your own sanity. Because it's said that there was a sage, somebody who was very high advanced in Kabbalah, right? A very great sage who actually performed that ritual, and he just went right off the deep end, and his fellow sages, his friends, had to pray for him, and it was, if I'm not mistaken, that's how it goes, though I might be mistaken, but I think, I haven't learned that in such a long time, but I think that they sort of prayed, and his vision was blocked once again. But yes, I know it. I know it offhand because I've used it in a screenplay. I used it in one of the screenplays that I wrote, that ritual, as something that is done. So I am aware of it, and I know it. I've never done it, but I've written about it, and it's why it's in my memory. It does sound tempting, doesn't it? To lift that veil that should not be lifted. Or it should not be lifted without proper arrangements made and without being prepared, right? Without the proper preparations. Do you believe Jesus Christ is God? No, JC, I believe Jesus Christ is a dead man. A righteous man, but a dead man nonetheless. Watch out for those things that go bump in the night. Yes, Jamie, you do need to watch out. That is true. Next says, stay away from kids. Well, I mean, I'm raising some kids here in Jerusalem. I can't stay away from them completely. As a Nazarite, what is halacha concerning the plucking of nose hair? Elevated Yid. Only the hair of the scalp is the crown of the Nazarite. You're allowed to groom. I was just doing that just now after the shower. I have a ear and nose hair trimmer. I don't need it for the ears. I'm not that old yet. But I do occasionally take a swipe at the nose and at the top bristles of the mustache that occasionally tickle. So yes, I actually took that thing and just like an hour and a half ago. Yep. You are now a king officially with crown, says McDonald. Thank you. But no, not a king. Do you listen to any metal bands? I mean, I'm a fan of Metallica, Pantera, Sepultura. I enjoy... Who else do I enjoy in the metal scene? Who else? Metal. A couple of local bands that I haven't listened to for such a long time. I mean, that's pretty much my go-to. Their earlier work, right? Pantera's earlier work, and Sepultura's earlier work, Metallica's earlier work. Oh, Iron Maiden, again, also their earlier stuff. Yeah, Iron Maiden. I was actually considering putting Somewhere in Time. Yes, I was actually considering putting Somewhere in Time in my earbuds earlier when I was at the gymnasium. I did not. Maybe tomorrow. I love working out to that album. I haven't done it in months, but I enjoy it. Jerry Seinfeld here, says Josh. I like milk, says Judge. That's nice. It's good to like milk. It is good indeed. I do not partake of dairy, but I'm a great fan of breast milk. And, vegan milks, but I'll take breast milk over a vegan milk any day, because that's actual milk, whereas the others are just watered-down grains. You look like Ice King from Adventure Time. I've never seen Adventure Time. Never. I've heard it's good, but I've never seen it. Genuine question, why do people perceive Jews to be annoying? You'll have to ask the people who perceive them to be annoying. Why are you asking me? I have no idea. I love the Doors, Fergus. I love Led Zeppelin. I do. I truly, truly do. I mean, the Doors, even though I was aware of the fact that poetry can be set to music, it was Jim Morrison who really drove that point home. When I listened to the Doors, right, the first few albums, but I mean, throughout the entire discography, really, right, the Doors and Strange Days and L.A. Woman, and I mean, it's like, damn, he really did put poetry to music there, really. Unlike Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, they had their own thing, and they still do. I mean, Leonard Cohen is dead. Love you, High Priest. But somebody like Jim Morrison, a different sort of poet, and when that's when I really understood what it means to put poetry to music with the Doors, yeah. And Led Zeppelin, I mean, wow. I viscerally still remember the first time I heard Led Zeppelin 2 from start to finish, right after I left the CD store where I had just purchased it, put it in my Discman, shut the lid, pressed play, sat down, so good, so good. Those energies, those vibes. I'll tell you, back when in my yeshiva days, one of the rabbis, the head of the yeshiva at the time, and I were talking. And he said, you know what? We were talking about music. And he said, you know what? I used to be a very big Yes fan. Right? The prog rock group. Yes. And then one day he said, now he was a secular man who made tshuva and became religious later in life. And he said, one day I walked into my room and I put a Yes record on the turntable. And it started spinning and the music started. But I felt nothing. And I stopped listening to secular music. I thought to myself, oh my God, I really, really hope that I don't become like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I just love music so much. That music more specifically. Of course, I love also religious music, Hasidic music, like klezmer, and others, of course. Yes, sure. And different melodies and nigunim, right? Hasidic nigunim. But, I also love, Pink Floyd and Radiohead and Genesis and Yes and the Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan and the Beatles and Aerosmith. It's like, I hope I don't feel the need to cut those things out of my life. Should it happen organically, like it did with him, then it's just simply, oh, okay, I can let this go now and focus on kosher Jewish religious music, let's say. But so far, I'm 43 years old. I'm 25 years since 25 years, yeah, 25 years basically since him and I had that talk, and he told me about the time that he stopped listening to Yes, and I still listen to secular music uh, all the time, and it's not halachically kosher to do that, really, but I do it because I pick and choose. I don't remember the names of the local bands I used to follow here. It's been such a long time. The local bands, the local metal bands from Yerushalayim. But you know what? It's been so many years, and I don't want to give you the wrong information. So maybe leave a comment, and I'll get back to you. Shadow says, "King of what exactly?" I am the king of leg farts, and now I shall fart with my leg. Behold, the king farts. I have decreed it. So it shall be written. So it shall be farted. So it shall be done. Okay. Are you a gay Jew? Yes, Lou Sassel. I'm gay, straight, bisexual, lesbian, two-spirit coffee mug, and I'm transsexual. I'm a trans Jew human sexual. Hey, football is here. How you doing this beautiful day? I'm doing pretty friggin' well. It's incidentally, it's been just over an hour. A quick aside to say thank you, those watching now, those watching later. The chatters, the lovers, the haters, the vitriol slingers, the Nazis, the trolls, the spammers, all of it. I love it. I cherish it. I don't take it for granted. You're taking time out of your day, your night, your afternoon, whoever you are, wherever you are. You're here with me live. Those watching later, shout out to the replay crew. But you're here with me now, live, raw, unfiltered, unscripted, and all full of farts from Jerusalem. And I deeply appreciate your time and your kind engagement, attention, participation, and positive vibration. Let's keep going. Hey, Jana is here. I am Hebrew Nazarite. Yes, indeed. He meant happy by gay. Yes, I am indeed very gay. He's everything. There's no limits for him, says Shadow. I don't know if you're talking about me. Yes, I'm a trans Jew in the sense that I don't necessarily categorize myself as this, that, or the other. I'm a pan-trans Jew. You know, I can go either way. I go both ways. There are some things in which I'm more religious, and there are some things in which I would be considered more secular, when I'm neither one of those things in essence. I'm just a Hebrew man. Favorite Disney movie? Ooh, that's a good question, Nielsen. A good question. Dang, what is my favorite Disney movie? In my mind, I'm thinking Lion King, and that's in my mind. What is it in my gut? What is it in my heart? Look, I love Alice in Wonderland because I'm a hippy-dippy, trippy person. And so even though it sort of veers away from the original books, it does have a charm about it. Also, there was a point in time in 11th, 10th or 11th grade, 11th, 12th grade, at some point in later in high school, where I had a ritual for like a month, or maybe it was a few weeks. I came home from school, put down my book bag, smoked a pipe, and then sat down to watch, blazed up some herb, and then sat down to watch Disney's Alice in Wonderland. I was a latchkey kid. I was the only one at the time, I think, no, there were not enough, not for that entire time. I have younger brothers. The point is, at the times when I was alone, I would shut the blinds, make the house all dark, and then just have that on the TV. I did it definitely a few times in a row. I think I did it for a few weeks. When I can afford to do it with the blinds closed, I did it like that. So, I think my favorite Disney movie is Alice in Wonderland. Lion King came to mind as well. But maybe there's one that I'm not thinking of that it's like, of course, something like Aladdin, which is great. I do not know. Where's your kippah? I have no kippah, Grim Reaper. I am a Nazarite, the crown of the Nazarite. Not this one, I mean the hair. The kippah is the Rabbanan from the sages, and the hair of the Nazarite is the Oraita from the Torah. We're all gods, people. Yes, Duck Duck, that's correct. We are all co-creators made in the image of God. That is correct. That is what I think as well. Nosei Mikvat Meulim. Yes, yes. I've only ever heard their singles. I don't think I've ever heard one of their albums, front to back. From start to finish, that is. What does the Almighty Adonai Elohim of Israel say in the scriptures about who you say you are? I'm not sure what that means, Kurt Hill. What does the divine revelation say about who you say you are, as in the people of Israel, or me as a Hebrew Nazarite? Which one are you referring to? I really don't know. Vigil says you are commanded to help the struggling donkey of the one who hates you. It is to help the hater or the donkey. Is it to help the hater or the donkey? No, it's the donkey. And indirectly the hater. I hate you and you hate me. Quit pretending, says Josh. I hate you and you hate me. You know what? It's all in the family. Yeah, that's Korn. New metal. What does it mean to be a Nazir? It means to take on the Nazarite vow and live as a Nazarite, and to each Nazarite his or her own take on the Nazariteship, the reasons that brought them to the Nazarite vow. But what does it mean? It means something different to each individual that takes on the vow. There are some things that you don't get to experience or understand unless you go all in, and this is one of those things, especially in this day and age where there is no temple. And so if you take a vow, even if it's a temporary vow, it is de facto for life or until the building of the temple. So what does it mean? It means to follow the commandments of the Nazarite, and that's it. That's the only prerequisite, right? To be a man or woman of the Hebrew tribes and carry out the covenant of the Nazarite and the commandments therein. You have to have daughters. No, I don't actually. I am digging your crown. Thanks, football master. Jonathan Davis approves. Yeah. That's him with Fred Durst. And they're going back and forth, taking cheap shots at each other. What rules are there for a Nazir? To let the hair grow, to not partake of anything of the fruit of the grapevine, and for some Nazirim, or Nazirot, to abstain from coming into contact with human death, corpses. For the Samson Nazarite, it's a little different. The vow is for life, no cutting of the hair, unbreakable, unannullable, and there is contact with human death. So it differs. Also, depending on the there are 4 different types of Nazarites, halachically speaking. Depending on the Nazariteship that you take, there are a few different laws that are entailed there. Taylor says, I really appreciate your moderate, compassion-based view on Israel-Palestine. So many voices on the topic are so partisan. Yeah, because it's really, really polarizing. But I do understand, despite what people might try to convince me of, that there are innocent men, women, and children in the Palestinian Authority territories and in Gaza. There are innocent men, women, and children in Israel. Nobody will be able to convince me otherwise. The innocent do exist. I'm so much older than you, says Josh. Yeah, many, many people are. Many. Ay. I keep rolling. What? Rolling. Yeah, Mike. I mean, wait, hang on. I gotta. I'm not that big a fan of Limp Bizkit. The only record I heard of theirs was Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. Is that it? Right? I think that was it. Maybe I'm confusing them with a different band, although I think that's it. And did I even listen to the entire record? I think so. I think I did. And that was my experience with them. You know, a single here, a single there. I still fondly remember their Mission Impossible soundtrack song. That's a good one. Bro needs a toot, says Big Mac Orange. All right then. Metallica ever played there? Did Metallica play in Israel? Yes, I believe they did. Am Yisrael Chai, doggy style or missionary, whatever feels good. And try not to break your dick off. And of course you need consent, and you need people to be comfortable, and really, whatever is more pleasurable for your partner. Not at your expense, of course, but the sexual encounter can be such height, such hype, such ecstasy. Especially if you connect the physical to the spiritual before, during, after. Put it all together in that one lovely unifying package of the masculine and the feminine, physical and spiritual. Don't rock the Casbah, rockin' Casbah, rock Casbah, shining on like it. Blow the shofar, says JJ. You know what? I mean, I usually do it only on the new moon, and it's not a new moon. But this is the only non-vegan thing that I partake of regularly. Once every month on the new moon, and on the Feast of Trumpets, I do blow the shofar. All right, I'll just blow one blast here. There. There, I blew my shofar. Slayer, says William. Again, I never really got into them, but I never gave them that much of a shot. John Smith said, why are you Jewish? John Smith, I was raised Jewish. When I was a teenager, I stepped out and I was like, okay, let's look at this objectively. And I decided to remain Jewish, and I doubled down, and I went to yeshiva, and I shaved my hair and grew long side curls. So, and I never shaved them or cut them. They're still part of my hair, the side curls. So why am I Jewish? Because I found that Judaism and the Hebrew faith, the Torah and the commandments, are the life for me. That is what I want to do. That is how I want to live my life. That's the conclusion I came to. That might change, I do not know. But so far, so good. It's the life that I have chosen. That's why I'm Jewish. And biologically, halachically speaking, I'm Jewish because I was born to a Jewish mother. That makes me a Jew whether I want to be one or not. Duck says, I've subscribed. Thank you, I appreciate that. I figured I'm on Mossad's list anyway, but I've decided that you're not an agent. Oh, really? Really? Because I'm local, right? Mossad is international, again. Check them out, Rain in Blood and South of Heaven, very good. So, maybe I should. I haven't listened to Slayer in a very long time. A very long time. People, there's no need to spam. When he's looking at the screen, he can't see chat. Yes, when I'm looking over here, I can't see the chat that is down there. God doesn't have chosen people. Satan lied to them, LOL. I agree. Humanity is God's chosen people. The Hebrews chose the Torah. The Hebrews chose the yoke and the burden of the Torah and its commandments. And in doing so, the divine revelation chose them to keep the Torah and the commandments. But humanity was chosen, right? Before the revelation at Sinai, before Jews and Gentiles, before Avram the Hebrew, before the sons of Noah, before the separation into all of these different factions. Before the 71 root nations. But yes, it's true. I think it's true. David says, what is someone who believes everyone is right? Everyone is white. Will we swatcha? What is someone who believes everyone is right? I don't know. Everyone all the time? Because that might seem like a gullible individual. I have no idea. What is someone who believes everyone is right? What do you call that? I really do not know. Did you ever get an opportunity to know your grandparents and great-grandparents? So not my great-grandparents, but my grandparents. Yes, I had a closer connection with my maternal grandparents than my paternal ones, even though my paternal ones were living in Israel, in Jerusalem, sometimes at some points close to home. But to get to know them, which was later in life, it was the maternal pair that died later that I got to know better. As far as human beings are concerned, but it is the paternal set of grandparents that I got to know as a child, a place to go to. I have very fond, vivid, visceral memories of going there, knocking on the door, eating my grandmother's oatmeal cookies, playing with the deck of cards that they had, 2 decks of cards together that were bound in an old brown rubber band, and my brother and I at the time, we used to play War for a very long time, since it was a double deck. So I did get an opportunity to know them emotionally and know them more physically, if you will. So yes. Why a pink crown? Because I am a pink princess. That's why. Amir Tsarfati is a prominent Israeli speaker. Yes, JJ. I've never really heard him speak, maybe once or twice, never an entire speech. I haven't read his work. He's an academic, right? He's a researcher. And there's the meme. I don't want to reduce the guy to a meme, right? But there is the GIF, whatever you want to call it, of him getting a chair in the face. Oy. It's terrible. But they say that comedy is a tragedy happening to someone else. And every time I see that GIF, it's like, oh, damn! Dude getting hit in the face with a chair. Got to go for now, says Mike. But I hope you have an awesome day. Love your live streams. Thank you. I appreciate the support, Mike. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. Why does the Talmud take 7 years to finish? Well, because there are many masechtot, many tractates to the Talmud, and it's very densely written, so to speak. And unless you know Talmudic, Babylonian, let's say Aramaic, fluently, you need to sort of, no, of course not. It depends on which Talmud you study. Are you studying the Vilna Talmud, right? The Babylonian or Jerusalem Vilna edition? Are you studying the Steinsaltz edition? Are you studying the Schuttenstein edition? Are you studying, which edition are you studying? Are you studying one with commentaries? Are you just studying just the Matnitin and the Gemara? It really does depend. But whatever one you choose, right? Regular Vilna, the Steinsaltz, Schuttenstein, whichever Talmud you choose to go with, it'll take you a very long time because there are many, many masechdot, many books in the Shas. Is your wife a trad wife? She's a trad wife in some ways, in the same ways that I'm a little bit of a trad myself. But no, she is not a trad wife. At least not in the sense that one would use the term trad wife. No. Let us continue. As a Nazir, do you only withhold from grapes and grape products like the biblical prohibition or all alcohol? So as a Nazir, it's only grapes. As an addition to the vow, that is not part of the vow, I also abstain from all alcohol. Simply because when I took the vow, I also took on two things along with it. Veganism, where before I was a vegetarian. And to cut out all alcohol, because I simply had the time that I had with alcohol, and that's it. I was ready to say goodbye. I didn't see any need for it to continue being a part of my life. So the Nazir is only commanded to abstain from grape-related products. But, right, which means beer, barley, wheat, right, whiskey, other spirits that are made from different grains or root vegetables, those he or she are allowed to partake of, but I cut out all alcohol, and I am very, very grateful to cut out alcohol from my life. It takes down so many people. It causes a lot of harm. A lot of good, but also a lot of harm. So as a Nazir, it's only grapes and grape products. As a Nazir Shimshon, as far as the Nazariteship had spoken to me, it's the veganism thing and the non-alcohol thing, teetotalership, that also called before me. Do you like the movie Fiddler on the Roof? Yes, I do. Wonder of wonders, miracle of miracles. Yes, I do love Fiddler on the Roof. Why aren't you a Muslim, bud? Doesn't Muhammad preach the same message of the Torah? I do not know what Muhammad preaches. I will turn my attention to Islam, the Quran, the Hadith, and the teachings of Muhammad when there is peace in the area. Because if I were to approach the Quran and the Hadith and the teachings of Muhammad now, it would be from a point of my mind being torn apart by war, bloodshed, terrorism, conflict, negative vibration to an extreme. And I would not want all of that negativity to come to bear on the subject matter at hand. And I would want to look at it from as pure and as objective of a POV, let's say, right? From a place of as objective and pure as can be. And it will not, because right now if I sit down to read the Quran, there's too much war going on and I can't do it. Is Jerusalem an expensive city to live in? Depends on the neighborhood, but generally, yes. Israel is expensive. Israel is expensive, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Dumbass, says Imported Baby. Yes, I am. I am a dumbass. I'm one simple dumbass here in the Middle East. Do you watch the TV show The Chosen? No, I don't watch much TV. Do you daven with a siddur or just daven hitbodedut? I mean, where is it? Is it here? Oh, here it is. Just within arm's reach. I do have my siddur. The Siddur I use sometimes, but my go-to prayer is always Hitbodedut. This Siddur, incidentally, this Siddur is over 30 years old. Yeah. And this Chumash that I have is 23 years old. I love keeping old books. I keep them until they're like falling apart. I mean, look at the state of this thing. It's just. But I can't. I love the old books. I can't. Okay. So yeah, Hitbodedut is my go-to. Do you have any traditional Jewish suits? Yes, I do. I have a kittel. A kittel is the suit of the dead, the beged metim. Why have I been blocked? You haven't, Bible with Danelle. I can see you perfectly clear. I don't know if you've said anything before, but you have not been blocked. I do not block anybody. I do not ban anybody. I don't put anybody in timeout. This guy represents the chosen people. No, I do not beat. I do not represent Israel. I do not represent Judaism. I do not represent the Torah. I barely even manage to represent myself. I do a very piss-poor job at that, as I love to say, because I really think that. So the only Jewish suit, if you will, it's not really a suit, it's more like a white robe, is the robe of the dead. I wore it on my wedding day, under the chuppah, and I wear it on the Holiday of Atonements, on Yom Kippurim. That is when I wear that. Was I blocked? No, Anne, you were not. Marcus Aurelius. So I love the teachings of Marcus Aurelius. I loved Meditations. I love other things that he's said, though the only book that I've read of his is Meditations. I don't know, did I finish it? No, I got very close to the end. I don't think I actually finished it. I should go back and finish it. But, yes, I do enjoy Marcus Aurelius very much. I think he was a very wise emperor. Do you dance? Occasionally, you know, Joey-like. Yes. What is the true path, says DF. That's for you to find out. For a Hebrew man or woman, it's the Torah and the commandments. For anybody else, that's for them to find out what their true path is. I truly don't know what to tell you. I would say that ideally, it should be a path of humility and of righteousness. And let those two things be your guide. I have a great question. Do you believe in the term of goyim? Goyim literally means nations. That's all that is. Israel are a goy. The other nations are goyim, plural. Singular, goy, plural, goyim. That's all it means. The nation of Israel, the nations that are not Israel. Now, some people use that as an insult, and some people use it pejoratively, and some people use the term goyim in a way to put others down. I never have. I simply know what it means. I speak Hebrew. I know that it simply means goyim, and Israel is called a goy many times in the Torah and in the Bible itself. So, yeah. Any thoughts on the West Bank? Yes, that it is not the East Bank. Thank you. How does one convert to Judaism? Depending on the type of Judaism you want to practice. But I would say speak to a local rabbi. Why is Jesus always portrayed as a white European Caucasian person with golden red flowing hair? I'm not a Christian, but I would venture a guess and say that because of European influence, that is why. I know that there are those in other countries that, missionaries, and they baptized people, and they still worshipped, as they say, a white Christ, and only later on did they find, oh, no. There is other depictions of Christ depending on the place that you are from, right? A Korean Jesus, and a black-skinned Jesus, and a Inuit Jesus. I don't know. JJ says, funny enough, 7-Eleven uses Goyim as their dessert brand. Really? Do they? I gotta check that out. Hang on a second. 7-Eleven Goyim. Goyim is a store brand of 7-Eleven sweet and savory snacks, including ice cream, popcorn, and baked goods. But it's with an exclamation point. But yes, it is Goyim. That's great. Goyim. That's very, very nice. Thank you for educating me on that. That's funny. Do you follow the Talmud? Tyler asks. The Talmud is not something you follow. Halacha is derived from there, and there are halachas in the Talmud. It's not a question of following the Talmud. What you mean to say, I suppose, is do you follow halacha, rabbinic law? I pick and choose. I, in the past, have kept strict rabbinic law for many years, and I have since, for not as many years, gone off of that path of strict adherence to rabbinic law. I pick and choose. I am a cherry picker, and I make no apology. So do I follow the Talmud? Yes, but not in every single strict halacha that is either written there or derived from there. What is the Kalima ritual? So you'd have to ask the Hindus. I think it's the Hindu goddess of death, but also of transformation, just like in the tarot deck and other instances of death where it can be transformation rather than negation. So and from what I've understood, Kali also has that element of life, right? Two sides of the same token. She could be the negative and the positive. She could be the higher feminine, and she could be the lower, or the side of death or the side of life. Now, if you're talking about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Kalima, Kalima, right? That's a whole thing. So I know the Hollywood ritual. I doubt that it's the actual ritual. Want to give a kiddush for Shabbat? Do you wear a kippah? Also, do you learn the Tanya and a lot of Chassidut? Boaz says. So, want to give a kiddush for Shabbat? I'm not sure what you mean. But I do not wear a kippah. The only time I will wear a head covering, and that's usually the talit. I don't wear a talit, right? I'm vegan. But when I do go to shul, I wear a talit and I put it over my head. I don't wear a kippah. And kiddush I do al hapat instead of al hayayin, right? With two challahs instead of a goblet of wine. And do I learn the Tanya? I have learned the Tanya in the past. I think it's a wonderful book, Sefer Shel Beinonim, and that is what we are aspiring to be. And a lot of Chassidut, not a lot. I'm a fan of Chabad, I'm a fan of Breslev. The different Admorim for different Chassiduyot, there are many of them that have wonderful, beautiful teachings, not least of which the teachings of the Besht and the Magid of Mezerich, right? The old school, new old Chassidut. But not a lot of Chassidut, though there are different points of Chassidut that I follow. I'm a fan of Itbodedut. I'm a fan of going to the mikveh, though it has been a while since I've gone. I'm always a fan. And there were times when I went daily. There were times when I went every Erev Shabbat. I really should not give myself a pass. I really should, and I could start going again. But we'll have to wait and see. Because a mikveh on a daily or a weekly, it's such an enlivening and sustaining thing. It's such a rush of energy to be reborn from the womb of the mikveh. Right? Aseni keger shenitgayer v'katan shenolad. Make me as a convert and a little one, right? Being reborn in the mikveh. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Okay. How one Jews are ugly, says MB. I don't know what you mean, but yes, I am ugly. Ah! Am Yisrael Chai says, how come Arabs have IQ of 50 less points than Jews on average? Whoa, that is making a really, really broad generalization. And even though you contextualized it by saying on average, I don't think that applies to all Arabs, nor do I think it applies to all Jews. 50 points? I don't know. Maybe you're right, but I have no idea why that would be the case. I really don't. But as I said in this context, right, the people of Arabia and the Arabs had their golden age. May they have another one. The people of Islam, right, the Muslims had a golden age. May they have another one. May the Arab culture bring it back, bring back the wonders, bring back the good stuff, bring back the contributions to society and to civilization. They made so many of them at the time. Islam as well, plenty of thinkers and things to do with math. And I've heard that people say, no, there was no Muslim golden age. They just stole those ideas from others and passed them off as their own. I don't know. But traditionally speaking, historically speaking, it is understood that there was a golden age for the Arab culture. There was a golden age for the Muslims, and may it come to pass that more golden ages come, be it Arabs, Muslims, Jews, whoever it will be. Because in these golden ages, in these periods of great outbursts of science, medicine, creativity, art, all that renaissancial thing, there's a lot of promise there and a lot of potential for a great shared future and walking into that future together. There's so much promise there. Okay. You're a refreshment, says Thomas. What type of refreshment? More like a smoothie? or like a stick of really juicy gum, or a glass of cold water? Why did you go a little off the derech and stop following strict halacha? Also, why are you vegan, and does it come from a Jewish belief or a personal belief? So I believe, start with last things first. The veganism thing, I believe, is part of going back to Eden. The Nazariteship also has a lot to do with Eden, and I believe Eden was vegan, so I took that on with the vow. And before that, I was vegetarian. And I believe the Torah encourages us to be vegetarian and vegan as part of, being earthlings and having dominion over creation. Why did I stop following strict halacha? Because at the time and still currently, there were certain views and values that things were happening in Israel, things with the religion, things with the religious leaders, things that having to do with politics, things having to do with not wanting to be associated with the religion as a religious man. Wear the kippah, I am religious, I'm part of this is the label, right? I still consider Orthodoxy my home and my root, and I have no problem going to an Orthodox shul. I have no real problem going to a conservative or reform shul either, though I haven't really done that, maybe once or twice. I'm a fan of the modern Orthodox, more egalitarian minions, let's say. But I stopped following strict halacha because it no longer aligned with who I was being called to be. Now, this is important. I asked myself, for years, mind you, soul searching, am I simply shirking my responsibility? Am I unburdening myself of the yoke and the burden of Torah and commandments, right? Am I being a porek ol, a blia'al, right? A person without a yoke. And I came to the conclusion, even though it might be misguided and wrong, I came to the conclusion eventually, and it did take a long time, that yes, I cannot ignore what I'm feeling, I cannot ignore what I'm seeing, I cannot ignore the calling as I am perceiving it, and I will do my best to keep myself with my head in the clouds and my feet on the ground, to always acknowledge halacha, to always acknowledge that it is a wonderful and blessed and welcomed and desired path, but simply not for me at this time in its more strict, chumrah-oriented ways. Now, some things I am machmir, right? In some things I am more strict, and in other things I am more lenient or liberal. And I pick and choose, and I make no apology, but I really do make an effort to pick the good cherries, the ripe cherries, the righteous cherries, and I make mistakes because I'm only human, but I consider avodat hamidot to be paramount, and if that sometimes flies in the face of halacha, then that's what I'm going with right now. Not all the time, sometimes I take things on a case-by-case basis. So why did I go a little off the derech? I thank you for saying a little off the derech. There are people who might say it's like either or. You can't be a little off the derech, you're either following strict halacha, or that's it, you're off the derech and that's that. But there are many things in which I keep strict halacha, right? So I suppose I am a little off the derech. I consider myself on my derech. Despite the detriments, despite the drawbacks, despite the pitfalls, despite all the ways in which I might be mistaken, they're my mistakes to make. Also, in that vein, I'm not raising my kids religious. I'm not sending them to religious schools. They're not wearing a kippah. They do not wear tzitzit. I'm raising them, God willing, to be mentioned. To be mentioned. And if they want, the Orthodox faith is still there. They're growing up in Israel and Jerusalem, for crying out loud. And, under the house where a Nazarite is. If they do want ever to keep strict halacha, I will say, tfadalu, go for it. It's a wonderful path. Follow it, and you will be embraced by life, right? And the Torah will open itself up to you. To keep the Torah, to keep the commandments. I named my dog Mike Hat. Okay, that's pretty cool. Mr. Hat. Do you believe men and women have different roles in Judaism? Yes, I do. We are equal, but different. We do have different roles, right? The women are the personification of the divine feminine, and the men are the personification of the divine masculine. And we each have our own unique attribute. And we all have the 10 sefirot inside of us. What is it that we are drawn to? What is it that we are inclined to do? So yes, there are differences between men and women, and there are different roles, but not one is more equal, right? It's ezer kenegdo. It's push and pull. It's the tension between the sexes, the tension between, let's say, the traditional roles, the tension between progress and preservation, and that's where wisdom arises. The Kabbalah is not good, it's black magic, says Sudlush. I disagree wholeheartedly. Are there forms of Kabbalah that might be considered black magic? Yes. But if you study kosher Kabbalah with a kosher master, that's not magic. It's simply not magic. It's just the Kabbalah, receiving the lore of the 10 Sfirot, knowing thyself, knowing the world around you, being able to manifest, right, and unify, right, that divine masculine and feminine presence. So Kabbalah is not black magic, but there are, I'm sure, different aspects of perhaps less kosher Kabbalah, if you will, that can be considered black magic. But even the Kabbalah Ma'asit, even the practical Kabbalists, if it comes from the side of sacredness, if it comes from the side of holiness, if it comes from the side of Kedusha, then that is not magic, so to speak. Hey brother, do you see, says Shrevask, do you see as a Jew, do you as a Jew forgive Brahmins for shaping, creating Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party along with their German perpetrators for their Holocaust crimes against Jews? So first of all, I had no idea that the Brahmins have shaped, created Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party. I know that the swastika, not on its side, a proper swastika, is a very positive symbol. And I think the Germans knew exactly what they were doing when they turned it on its side. But regardless, do I forgive Brahmins? I don't have any reason to forgive Brahmins. They don't need my forgiveness, nor do I have any inclination to offer forgiveness, because I don't know what it is that they have done wrong. You tell me. People in the chat, more knowledgeable than I, what have the Brahmins done? How is it that they shaped and created Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party? I did not think that was even a thing. Do you think Tupac is alive in Tel Aviv? Yeah, he survived being gunned down on the Strip, and then he made his way to Tel Aviv. Maybe. Do I have coffee? Yes, I do. Okay. What about Gnostic beliefs? To each his own, William. That's what I say. Gnostics, agnostics, to each his and her own. Can you please direct me to evidence of manifested, actualized, animated golems, says Joe. Well, the most famous one is the Golem of Prague, the Maharal of Prague, and that some people say that it's a myth, some people say it actually happened, so I cannot direct you to evidence of a manifested golem. I can direct you towards the book called Sefer Yetzirah, which they say has the secrets of the Hebrew letters, and that is how golems are animated. But once the letters are gone from them, so the animating spirit is gone, because it doesn't come necessarily from God, it comes from that spiritual essence that is in the Hebrew letters. And so when the letters are gone, and when emet becomes met, when truth becomes death, that is when the golem itself is also goes back to being just a hunk of clay, or whatever it is that you made him out of. So, I cannot direct you. I don't know of any golems right now, present company aside. I don't know of any golems that are here. I really don't. So I cannot direct you, unfortunately. But check it out. I'm sure there's a lot. Today is release of Season 1 in Kharkov. Are you going to play there a lot? IDF soldiers based off their names. I have no idea what you're saying, ESK. No idea what you're saying. Retro says, you are very well spoken. May I ask where you obtained most of your knowledge? Again, it's not my knowledge. I am not knowledgeable. I am standing on the shoulders of very knowledgeable giants. And I can... the Torah and the commandments. I grew up religious. I went to yeshiva. I don't consider myself knowledgeable, but the things that I do know, I've picked up in life, and I've soaked them up from various rabbis and sages and masters over the years. I would be curious as to your thoughts, says Tim. My thoughts on what, Tim? My thoughts on what? Is there something he said before? Did you see the Odyssey? No, I did not see the Odyssey, nor did I read the book, nor did I read the Iliad. Unfortunately, I have not read any of Homer's works. It's on my bucket list of things to read, or reading list. It's not a bucket list, it's reading list. I have a list of books I need to read. I have a list of movies I need to see. And right now, incidentally, I'm reading The Brothers Karamazov. After it sat on my shelf, gotta be at least 3 or 4 years. And I said, damn it, you know what? I'm going to sit down and read this thing. So I'm reading the Brothers Karamazov, Dostoevsky, and I'm really enjoying it. Really, I am. Christ was never king, says Tenebris. That is correct. According to Hebrew tradition, he was never crowned. The last king of Judah was Agrippa II. Oh, yes. All right. Go, says Big Mac. Yeah, Homer. S-M-R-T. I mean S-M-A-R-T. Chewy is the shiz. Do you mean Chewy as in Chewbacca? Or do you mean Chewy as in Hui? Because Hui is something else. Always was and always will be, chump. Are you talking about if Christ was a king? Yeah, Christians think he was king, that's fine. Christians think that he's Lord and Savior, that's fine. Christians think that he's God, that's fine. For them, it's simply not part of the Torah. It's not part of the Hebrew faith. It's not part of the Hebrew way. It's not part of the Hebrew tradition to believe in a God incarnate. Nor is it tradition to follow the dead as if they are alive. And a king of Israel needs to be alive. That's what it says. Joe says, I recently heard some people speculate that the old stories of mutilated animals purported to be aliens might have actually been acquisitions of organs to make homunculi. Now, the homunculus, trying to remember what that is. I've definitely heard the term before. Is that the child inside the homunculus? I'll look it up. Yes, a small artificial human. That's why I thought of child. Yes. Okay. So that's like Buffalo Bill making, a dress out of women's skin in Silence of the Lambs. What is that on about? Do you like Madonna? Well, if you mean the people who Christians say Madonna is, like the mother of Jesus, I suppose I like her just fine. If you mean the artist, I think she was wonderful in the 80s and the early 90s, and then I kind of tuned out. And I saw her perform at the Eurovision a few years ago. That was not good. I mean, she really is a trailblazer. She really is an original. There are some things. I love Vogue. I love Material Girl. Papa Don't Preach is good. Human Nature is a good one. Frozen is a good song. She's got some really great album. Ray of Light. There was one time when I took MDMA a few times in my life. There was one time I took MDMA just alone in my home, solo tripping, and I put on the headphones, and just as I was settling in, just as I was starting to elevate, right, just as it was starting to come up, I listened to Ray of Light. That song, oh my God, it filled my entire being, and I was all in. I was flying with Madonna in that moment. So yes, I'm a fan of Madonna, of her earlier work more than her later work. That's pretty much it, but she is indeed a gutsy, ballsy woman, right? She has children's stories that she published, and she has the book Sex that she published. She has, really, I mean, she did musicals, and she did pop songs, and she's been on stages all over the world. She's lived a really great life. Not to mention she's collaborated with so many people over the years. I'm not currently a Madonna fan, but I never was really a Madonna fan, but I did enjoy some of her work more. And Beautiful Stranger is a good one. Her cover of Miss American Pie, also very good. So yeah. Michael says, instead of talking bullshit, make me a burger with tomato, fries, and lettuce. So okay, when do you want the lettuce? Because you don't want it to get all smushed. Do you want the lettuce on the side, and that way you can put it in the bun? Did you even with a bun, without a bun? Because you said a burger with tomato and lettuce. So do you mean like 2 slices of tomato on either side and a slice of lettuce on either side, and the fries on top or underneath or on the side? Do you want home fries? Do you want the skinny fries? Do you want the curly fries? What sauces do you want? Come on, man, you can't just order like that. I'll screw it up. It'll come out of my paycheck. What the hell, man? This is a Wendy's. Okay. I have an actual question, says Tim. Heinz57 says Big Mac. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Shreya says, Shreyas. Hey, bro, would love to know what is your profession and education been. I am a writer. That is what I do for a living. I barely finished high school. I didn't go to college. I didn't go to university. I didn't even complete all of my studies. I did complete 12 years of high school, right? Grade school and high school, but I did not complete all of my tests. So I got a diploma, but not a certificate of completion of all of the exams. And then I went to film school. I am a screenwriter by trade. I am a copywriter, content writer, blogger, editor. I'm a man of words. That's what I do for a living, and that's been my education. Pretty much. And what is yours? People in the chat, what do you do for a living? What is your education? I would love to know. How many of you are PhDs? Piled high and deep. I would advise against the lettuce, says wise, cracking wise man. You might get diarrhea. I mean, look, when it's in measure, then yes. When it's in measure. I am looking for a writer. ESS, I am a writer. I'm a creative writer. I've written and performed poetry. I've written technical manuals. I've written, right, copywriting for B&B, B2C, not B&B, B2B, B2C, things that were on Amazon and, top one of their category. So if you want a man of words, a wordsmith, I'm your man. Hit me up in the DMs if you want, or regardless, if you don't want to offer me any work, that's cool. I could do freelance, I could do salaried work, whatever it is you need. If you're actually serious and needing a writer, I am a hired gun and I am open for business if you want to hire me. ESS 7880, what type of writing are you looking for? I'm a dragon slayer, says Jamie. Well, Dr. Jordan Peterson would be proud. You might as well go after the dragon, eh? I love pooping, though, says Big Mac. Yes, pooping is very good when it comes, in its right time and its right place. Of course, if you go into the extremes where it doesn't come out or it comes out too much, but if you stay in the middle and you keep your diet and you poop when you need to poop, then yes, it is all very good. Why can't someone have a burger and a milkshake served together in Israel? You can. Many places do that. But if you want to have a kosher certificate by the rabbinate, then you might not do that, because then you will not receive a certificate of kosher and there are those who only eat in eateries and establishments and restaurants that do have a kosher certificate. So if you don't care about kashrut, you will find places that are open on the Sabbath and that serve cheeseburgers and bacon and ham, and so you will find that, right? Non-kosher things. But if you only eat kosher, and if you only eat kosher when you eat out, then you will not find a place that will serve you a hamburger and a milkshake with a certificate of kashrut. You will find, let's say, a vegan place, for instance, that serves you a vegan burger and a vegan milkshake, but you won't find a place that serves you meat and dairy and that has a kosher certificate. That's pretty much it. Catalyst says, boring themes. What are the boring themes? I'm curious. What's your favorite place in Israel? Says Run Up on Tzfat. Tzfat is my favorite place in Israel. Tzfat is where I went to yeshiva for 3 years before the army. It is a place that I adore. I don't know if I would necessarily want to live there. The energies in Jerusalem are plenty for me. But I think my favorite place in Israel would have to be Tzfat. And from the moment I set eyes on Tzfat, I was enthralled and enamored. And I was supposed to stay there only for 1 year before the army, but then it turned into almost 3 years. Because I was like, I want to stay here. I want to keep learning Torah. Yes. Can you convert to Islam? Yes, you can. You're still a Jew, but you're simply a converted Jew. In Egypt, says Vigil, Hebrews were Pharaoh's slaves, not slaves to the Egyptian people, like slaves to the federal government only. Well, are you saying they did his bidding, but not the bidding of all of the other Egyptians, the mob? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Michael says, the Shroud of Turin is the scientific proof Jesus rising from the dead. So, Michael, I don't care for the Shroud of Turin one way or the other. I got nothing to say about that. It's just a garment. But I have no problem with Jesus rising from the dead. That has a precedence in the Hebrew Bible. People rose from the dead in the Hebrew Bible. People ascended without dying in the Hebrew Bible. I have no problem with that. I do have a problem with, and he's also God in the flesh. That is where I break away from the Christian narrative and I say, nope, that is not our path. That is not our way. It is not what we believe in. That's it. That's where it breaks down for me. Others, right, Christians and followers of Jesus who think that he rose from the dead, ascended, and he is also God, that's their business, right? The Pope is illegitimate. Christianity is a scam, says Josh. Well, I have no idea. I know people say that about the Pope. People say that about Catholicism. People say that it's warping Christianity, even though it is one of the earliest churches, is it not? The Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church, two of the most earliest of churches and doctrines. And yes, different councils were made over the years and things were changed over the years and are currently still progressing and modernizing bit by bit, I suppose. But Christianity is a scam. I'm curious, what makes you say that? I am dyslexic, says David. Hey, you know what? We all have something to deal with in this life, and that's part of what you have to deal with. How is your life as a dyslexic? Does it really get in your way a lot of the time? I'm curious. I am looking to hire a writer. I need someone to write how amazing our Lord and Messiah, Jesus Christ, is, said Sudlush. Okay? I mean, again, I'm a hired gun. I've written for different companies whose products I never really used, or I did to some degree, a little bit, and then I got the idea, and then I ran with it, and some things where I never really used it. So if you want to write, if you want me to write how amazing our Lord and Messiah Jesus Christ is, and I'm simply doing it as a writer, I just might be able to do that. I've ghost-written different things that I didn't necessarily, again, I'm a hired gun. It's all marketing, right? I'm a marketing writer and a creative writer. So depending on what you need me to write, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Let's talk about Nidaf 44b, says Balaris. What about Nidaf 44b? I am not versed enough in the Talmud to know, assuming you're talking about the Talmud. Yeah, you're talking about the Talmud Bavli, if it's 44b. Talmud Bavli. I'm not that versed in the Talmud as to know precisely which sugya, right, which area you're talking about there in the Gemara. So please let me know. Let's say the Shroud of Turin is legitimate. Hey, Soviet Khan. How does dead person juice soaking into a shroud prove a resurrection? I'm a Christian. I'm just asking how this specifically proves it. Indeed. How does it prove it? Of course, people who believe it don't need the proof. And in Reservoir Dogs, right? What does he say? You don't need proof when you've got instinct. Judaism is a bloodline, not a religion. That is false, because you can convert to Judaism. Your religion's name is Torah, followers, or Islam. Okay. Yes, the people who follow the Torah. There is no such thing in the Torah as Yahadut, Judaism. It became Judaism when it was only sort of relegated. Relegated? Is that the word I'm looking for? Anyway, when it pertains to the religion of the remnants of the kingdom of Judah, known as the Jews. So yes, but Judaism belongs to the Hebrew people, right? The Torah and the commandments don't simply belong to the people who are the remnants of the kingdom of Judah. The Torah and its commandments belong to all of the tribes. So I would say, right, it's the Hebrew faith. That's why I go by Hebrew Nazarite and not Jewish Nazarite. Islam denies the Ten Commandments. Taqiyya is satanic in versions as Elite Gaming. So I've been told that taqiyya should only be employed in matters of life and death. And then I've heard others say, no. Muhammad employed taqiyya when he struck a bargain with the Meccans and then broke the peace agreement when he had the upper hand as far as his strength and his army is concerned. Then he had no problem doing that. So I've heard different things concerning taqiyya. People, what do you think? The Muslim term, right, of taqiyya and everything that entails. Should it be only in extreme cases of life and death? Or should it be you're allowed to lie to non-believers and the heretics as such, to the kafir? Judaism is a religion that some humans follow. Yes, Michael, it is, but people have a difference of opinion on what exactly constitutes Judaism and what Jews are. To be a Jew is to follow 613 commands. Yes, pretty much, right? Taryag mitzvot, although you can be a Karaite Jew or a Samaritan Jew, and that's not Taryag mitzvot. That's a little bit different. You could also be an Essene Jew, which is also a little bit different. But yes, basically speaking, keeping the Torah, keeping the commandments, that is the covenant of the Hebrew people, be they Jews or, of the other tribes of Israel. Hey, you okay? My man, you okay? He can't hear me. All right. So dreadlocks are Jewish. No, dreadlocks are human. It's just a natural way for hair to grow. It's a human thing. It's not a Rasta thing. It's not a Jewish thing. It's not a Nazarite thing. It is all those three things, but that's not the end all be all. It's just hair, right? It's just dead strands of keratin with a living root. That's all that this is. It will die and decay with the rest of me. Yet it has great significance, and it symbolizes something, right? It symbolizes something about me as a human being. So it's not Jewish. Dreadlocks are just a human thing. It's the way humans grow hair, and and that's it. You keep the scalp clean, and you keep the hair strands clean, and you let the hair get knotted up, and and look over here, as I've said many times, over here it hasn't even locked up, and I don't think it ever will. But over here, it's these thick, matted ropes of hair. That's the way that it goes. Okay. Yeah, let's put it on the side there. There you go. Kabbalah is evil magic. Once again, Sadlush, I wholeheartedly and vehemently disagree. It is not evil magic. There are different types of Kabbalah that are not kosher Hebrew Kabbalah that might be considered evil magic or black magic, as you said. Maybe. I know that the Hebrew Kabbalah, the kosher Hebrew Kabbalah, when it's studied with a kosher Hebrew master, that is not evil, nor is it magic. That's what I think. Any hair will mat up if not brushed. That's correct, Eric Boggs. It's good to see you again, Eric. Yes, that's true. If not brushed and not combed, any hair will lock up. That is correct. Let's continue. What is your view on the genocide? That there is no genocide, Premji? There is no genocide. There is a war going on, but not a genocide, not even close. All right, I will try Kabbalah with a rabbi. Let's see. Better not see any demons, says Sotlush. Well, let's put it this way. If you study with a proper master, and over the course of years, you will be able to expand your spiritual toolkit and expand the spectrum of your sight, as it were, and be able to perceive the angelic and demonic elements around you in their form, then that would be something that you would already have, let's say, dominion over, or at least the capacity and the potential for dominion. If you can actually perceive them, you can also relate to them in that sense. But if you bypass and if you go with technicalities and if you invoke certain names and do certain things before you merited it, before you are virtuous enough and versed enough and learned enough to withstand the negativity, you do not mess with the klipot. You do not mess with the demonic elements. You do not mess with the husks. You do not mess with the sitra achra, with the other side. You just do your thing humbly, righteously, and just walk. That's what I say. But if you choose to go, into the dark side of the force in order to turn it into light, you do that at your own peril. I do not advise it. Lord Flaw says, you don't know what you're talking about. That is true, Lord Flaw 445. I do not know what I'm talking about, is correct. Ugly on the outside as well as inside, says Nihil Zahak. Yes, I am. I'm very ugly on the outside. Not as ugly on the inside, because I'm working on it a lot more than I'm working on the outside, I suppose, at least insofar as some people might perceive me aesthetically. But I am working on the outside and the inside, actually, on being less ugly. And in some things I'm more successful than others. But yes, I definitely am ugly to many, many people. I'm fine with that. That's okay. I don't need them to think I'm pretty. I don't need others to think I'm beautiful. The only one who needs to be attracted to me, ideally, is my woman. And she is. And I've been with her ever since I'm 16. So, and she's seen me with long hair. She's seen me with shaved hair and side curls. She's seen me with all kinds of things. I've seen her with all kinds of crazy hairstyles and colors over the years as well. We both still find each other plenty attractive and not as ugly as others might consider us to be. So that fits. Physically, we are a good fit. Your nose is just too big. No, Josh, I love my Jewish schnoz. Come on now. Honka, honka. You filthier on the inside. Yes, I think I'm filthier on the inside, but I'm in some ways, and in other ways, I might be filthier on the outside. You could say that. But what I'm trying to do, right, with each passing day is be a little less filthy, a little less ugly, shine more light into my being and have it manifest outwardly towards creation, right? That's what I'm trying to do. Go back to the Holy Torah. Okay, Kurt, who are you talking to? Here is the Holy Torah. Right here. Here it is. The crown is a bit weird, but it's all good. Yes, Elite, it is all good now, isn't it? Boink. I don't understand why you live in Israel. You must want to travel around by Israel. No, I don't have. I was just speaking of that last night. I have no desire to travel whatsoever. I don't have the desire to see other cultures, meet other people. I have no desire to taste other foods. I have no desire to go see places. Nothing. Literally zero desire. 0.1 desire, perhaps, because there are no absolutes. Let's say 0.1. That is my desire to travel. That's it. I simply don't feel the need, the bug, the desire to travel. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't see any benefit in it for me, even though there is benefit in it, to be sure. I just don't feel the desire to engage in travel. Never. I never wanted to go places, and see, really never. So others definitely do have that desire to travel and go and see and experience, and I don't. That's simply me. I'm very happy with that, by the way. How bunker life? Stressful, not easy, challenging, but altogether very, very thankful that the state of Israel has the ability and the capacity to offer us civilians protection with the bunker life. So yeah. Beans, the magical fruit. Some say musical fruit. The more you eat, the more you said took, but it's toot. The more you toot, the better you feel, so eat your beans with every meal. Content life is a good life. I agree. I'm content, but not complacent, right? That means I'm happy with what I have by the grace of the Most High God. And I want to do more, and I want to become better, and I want things to be elevated inside and outside of me. But I also know that humility is the key to all positive attributes, and the desire, the lack, the wanting, that is something that can be a great detriment to living a peaceful and humble and righteous life. And on the other hand, I also know that in the life of Torah and commandments, on the one hand, you have comfort and solace in the fact that, yes, you're walking this path, however haphazardly, however wonkily, you're stumbling towards the light. So you're stumbling towards something good, and yet you are still stumbling. And there are ways in which you should be more straight and steadfast and strengthened and emboldened. And so there's that positivity, right, of having everything you have, along with the lacking of, and there's still work to be done. So the Torah gives you both at the same time. Is that a clown on your head? A clown or a crown? I'm a clown wearing a crown. If you're driving in your Chevy and you feel something heavy, diarrhea. Yes, it's true. What do you do in your life? As in, what does life mean for you, says Dino Bryce. Life, for me, is the opportunity to bring to the forefront and manifest and express the image of God in which I individually was created. To give my gift to the world, as it says in The Way of the Superior Man. That each and every one of us, humanity, born, created in the image of God, we each have a job to do. We each have a mission to fulfill, a task to accomplish. Each and every one of us have a unique gift to give to the world, something to offer that no other of the billions of people that have ever existed on planet Earth could do, something you uniquely can do and need to carry out in the world. So that is what life means to me, the idea of making life meaningful, right? And people ask, what is the meaning of life? To make life meaningful. What is the purpose of life? To live with purpose and to make it as grand and as noble and as far-reaching of a purpose as it can be. That the meaning would be something that is also outside yourself. that the meaning that you bring will sustain not only you, but in time, as your sphere of influence grows, those around you as well. That, to me, is life. But in the day-to-day, very simply, the Torah, the commandments, the Hebrew covenant, that is it. But, I also have a job and stuff. I'm looking for work. Abrahamic religions are a psyop, says Michael. Yes, people do say that it's a psychological operation, right? The opiate of the masses, oppression, control, influence, and that whole thing. I disagree on general principle, though there is that facet to organized religion and Abrahamic religions. That much is true. Nobody wants your Bible or Quran, says Michael. Okay, cool. That's good. It's good to feel that way. I'm glad you have your principles. You make life miserable, says Zahak. Really, I make life miserable. Please, pray tell, how is it that I am making your life miserable? I'd love to know. Hey, FanMade is back. Shouldn't be purpose to reach eternal life. Well, let's put it this way. This is a temporary world of knowledge of good and evil. We will eventually be partaking the fruit of the tree of life. That is why that's the real afterlife, right? After we partake of the fruit of the tree of life, that has put under guard, right? The path was put under guard, but the fruit was never forbidden. Then then everything will be elevated, and humanity phase 2, creation phase 2, will be made manifest. And so you can consider that eternal life, because it's not eternal, it's not life as opposed to death. It's eternal in the sense that it is not in the temporal space of space and time as we know it, because everything will be creation itself in all its different levels will be elevated. So the purpose to reach eternal life, yes, but there's even after that, there is still an existence that you and I cannot fully perceive. In the very same way that the fetus cannot fully perceive life outside the womb. And yet we know that what we say is that this is real life. Life in the womb is a very sheltered life, right? In the very same way, it's this life as opposed to the world to come and the life after eating, right? We are now in a womb state, preparing ourselves to be delivered. In the very same way that a fetus knows only that world, and there's that great gag, I don't remember who did it, right? Of twins inside the womb, and one turns to the other. Do you believe in life after birth? It's funny, but yeah, it's that sort of thing. Holy shit, says Josh. Yes, shit can be holy if you set it aside, and if you properly cleanse yourself, and if you go to the bathroom with, for the sake of strengthening your body and sustaining it, then even going to the bathroom is something holy. Maybe not while you're doing it, but shortly afterwards, when you sanctify your hands and wash them to sustain your body and rid yourself of any germs, and that is to strengthen you and make you more able to serve your fellow humans and the Lord God. So there is something holy about it, which is also why there is a blessing that is recited after going to the bathroom. Because it is no small thing. The human body is a miracle. Your afterlife is hell from all 7 gates. Well, first of all, I don't know what 7 gates you mean, because that's a Christian thing. Jews have no hell. So you're kind of wrong about that. Insofar as Hebrew tradition is concerned, if your Christian or whatever tradition tells you something else, then, hey, good for you. Ding. Can you read auras in Judaism and know people's secrets? Let's put it this way. People who see have the capacity of viewing things outside of the physical individual, and they can grasp them on a more holistic level, spiritually and physically. As for knowing people's secrets, that has to do with the connection that you have to what's called Ruach HaKodesh, or the spirit of sacredness. So can you? Yes. Do most people have that ability? I would say no. Fluff says, what are your views on holy text that has been translated into another language? Is much lost by this process? Yes, a lot. A lot. Because even if not much is lost on the very basic level of what the words mean, and it is, a lot of things are lost. But even if we take that as, there are translations that are really, really pretty good and nigh indistinguishable, let's say, in the face value meaning of the words, there are other levels to the Torah and other levels to the Bible books, the prophecies, the scrolls, the writings. And that, you need the Hebrew for that. For those other levels to be made manifest and for understanding to click, you need the Hebrew. So a lot is lost in the process. You can't help that. That's simply the nature of translation. Dirty rat, not working, stole that house. Well, first of all, I am a dirty rat. I'll give you that. Second of all, no, my company was bought out and I was laid off after over 11 years. And so now I'm open for business and looking for work. I've already started sending out resumes, building up my portfolio. I have no doubt I have a lot of severance pay coming my way after working a full-time job for over 11 years straight. So I have a lot of severance pay, God willing, coming my way. I have time to look for a job, pleasantly, calmly, chill, good vibrations, where as opposed to other times when I was really under the gun and every job interview was really, really stressful and every, will I hear from them, will I not hear from them, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And this time I'm feeling so chill about looking for work. But I do work. I've kept a full-time job in one capacity or another ever since I was discharged from the army. Or rather, ever since the year after yeshiva, when I went to yeshiva after the army, where I was working half a day and learning half a day. So, stole that house. Wrong. Bought and paid for. So, up yours. No, it's not up yours. Spoon? Spadoon? No, Spoon. Spoon 3731. I am a dirty rat. I am working, though I currently don't have a day job, but I will soon enough, and one that I think will be even greater than my previous one. God willing, I'm on a new path. And as for stole that house, no, I did not. So you have 2 out of 3. 2 out of 3 is not bad. 2 out of 3 is not bad. You bring shame to Prophet Moses, says Zahak. Really? How is it, pray tell? Please do tell. How is it that I bring shame to my fellow Levite, our master Moses? How is it that I am shaming the father of all prophets? So do you believe in hell? No, the Jews have no hell. Hell, devil, and original sin don't exist in Judaism, says Tenebris, which means Jesus didn't believe in them. Yes, that probably is correct. And no, the hell does not exist, the devil does not exist, original sin does not exist in the sense of Christians and how they conceptualize those 3 things. Anyone not a Jew is considered an animal. That is incorrect. Some people do hold that view. Let's make no mistake about that. I don't hold that view. Neither does the Torah, the written Torah, as such. What does that mean? I think it's in the Torah, or I mean I heard it. So, yes, there are those who say that the Hebrew people are the only ones imbued with a divine soul, whereas others and non-Jews have an animal soul. And so people have said, all Jews think that the non-Jews are cattle. So first of all, I don't go with that at all. I believe we are all human beings made in the image of God with the divine breath of life pulsating within us. That's what I believe. Other people of the Hebrew faith can believe whatever they want. They can believe that they are superior. They can believe that they're better. They can believe that all of the other nations are cattle. They can believe that they should all be serving the Jews. People will believe whatever the hell they want to believe, and I have no problem with that. But to say that in the Torah it says that they are animals, no, it does not say that in the Torah. All humans are animals. That is correct. We are mammals. The thing is, do we give in more to our animal side and our base instincts and desires and whims? And we choose to satiate ourselves with instant gratification? Or do we elevate the divine part of us? Do we make manifest that image of God in which we were created? Do we bring it to the fold? Do we let it shine through with our actions, our deeds, our words, the way that we behave and be in the world? Why does hell not exist, says Mounty? Because there is no such thing. There is something of a waiting room that is more akin to purgatory called Gehinnom. But that is a place of purgation, purification, cleanliness, shedding the negative karma, if you will, and peeling the onion. But it's not eternal. There is no eternal hell. There is no eternal damnation. There is no eternal bliss. There is no eternal Eden. Eden and Gehinnom are both waiting rooms on the way to the next phase of all creation. Elite says, Kabbalah taps into hell's satanic spirits. False. Kabbalah teaches you of the demonic realms, of Heichalot HaKlipot. Through the study of Kabbalah, you can see how the world acts in a balance of good and bad, good and evil, negative and positive, the right side and the left side, right? The side of the Kedusha, of sacredness, and the other side, the side of the husks, the side of the Klipot, the dark side of the Force, right? The Jedi and the Sith, the Yin and the Yang. So it's not that it taps into hell's satanic spirits, it's that it teaches you of them. So first of all, you are aware and are able to make connections. And second of all, to those who are practical Kabbalists, and I am not a Kabbalist nor a practical Kabbalist, but to those who engage in Kabbalah Ma'asit, it is very, very, very important to know and be aware of the dark side in order to know when it starts whispering in your ear and be able to discern. So it taps into hell's satanic spirits. That's not how I would phrase it, not at all. Because Kabbalah does preoccupy itself with the dealings of the Sitra Achra, but only in the sense of knowing and not in the sense of engaging. Now, are there Kabbalists who are of such formidable knowledge, strength, and sagacity, if that's a word, right? And Kedusha, that they are able to go into the belly of the beast and pull out the Lurianic sparks? Yes. Not many. I would venture a guess and say that not many. Why are genetic testings banned in Israel? They are not. They are regulated, but not banned. It is legal, very legal, but regulated. It's a very common misconception to think that genetic testing is banned in Israel. It is not banned. You're a colonizer, says Zahak. False. In order for there to be a colony, you need to have a mother state. But Israel is the mother state. Ergo, we are not colonizers. Also, people say, but the British. Yes, but the British never turned this into a colony. They never annexed the land. It was never part of the British Empire. It was under their mandate, because the League of Nations gave them a mandate after World War I, and the fall of the Ottoman Empire, but they never annexed the land, nor did they turn it British. And so it's not a colony, however you look at it. Furthermore, it is our ancestral home that has been our ancestral home with an unbroken presence of Jews in the land for over 3,000 years, closer to 3,500 years or so, which means that it's not a colony, it's our home. And so you cannot occupy your own home. You cannot be you cannot be a colonizer in your own mother state, and you cannot be any of the other bullshit, crap, twisted terms that people are throwing around. It's simply Jewish people going back to the homeland of the Jews. That notwithstanding, it is also the home of other people who are not Jews. That's it. But to call Jews of Judea colonizers is some of the dumbest shit ever. You annex the land. See, once again, Jews going back to the land of the Jews is not annexing anything. If you annex something, right, you can claim that we did it with the Golan Heights, right, for strategic purposes of defense. Because from what I've gathered, the Golan Heights were not part of the border of original Israel, if you will, and that was done for reasons of purpose, right, for purposes of security and having a tactical advantage and having eyes on the, right, having the I have the high ground, right, Ramat HaGolan, the Golan Heights. That's the only part that was annexed. In some cases, Gaza, because Gaza belonged to the Philistines, but with the wars of ancient times, Israel took over Gaza several times from the Philistines. So those places we did annex. As for annexing the land as such, that is a bunch of bullshit. We did not annex the land. Joshua and the Israelite army crossed the Jordan, conquered it from the 7 nations here, and took it over, and have been here ever since. Sometimes more people, sometimes less people, sometimes with a temple, sometimes without a temple. Sometimes the kingdom was unified, other times the kingdom was split. But the Jews, the Hebrews, the sons of Israel, the sons and daughters of Zion, were here. Now I know it burns your ass, and it scalds your penis, and it really puts fire on your clit, but that is the case, and this is historically documented truth that you can turn a blind eye to by all means, but it doesn't make it any less true. Ooh, I'm done with the coffee. Take a drink of water. I've been on for 2 hours and almost 20 minutes. Should I say goodbye? Maybe soon, maybe soon. I'm really enjoying myself. A quick aside once again to say thank you, those watching now, those watching later. I do not take it for granted you're here with me live from Jerusalem. having a conversation. It's not a small thing that you're here. You could be doing anything else right now, like literally anything else, watching anything, doing anything. The world is your oyster, and yet you are here with me live. Shout out to the replay crew who's watching later. But you here now are with me live, and I deeply, genuinely appreciate your time, your attention, your encouragement. The lovers and the haters, the spammers and the Nazis, and the vitriol slingers, the insulters, the trolls. I love it all. It's a win, 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 win for me and for you and for YouTube and YouTube's advertisers. It's all wrapped up in a neat package of positivity here on the Hebrew Nazarite channel, coming at ya on this lovely, lovely afternoon. Yes, afternoon. It's 12:48 p.m. this Monday afternoon. And here we are. Let's continue. Scrolling down. Scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down, scrolling down. You are a well-informed gentleman. Thank you. I appreciate the sentiment. I don't think that I am. I call things like I see them. And you can fact-check me, challenge me, push back against me, and I will say, oh, you're right. I was wrong. So I don't think I am well-informed. I think I simply call things like I see them, and sometimes I have good eyesight, and sometimes I don't. Coming at you pretty soon, says Zahak. Okay, cool. Thank you for our time together. Hey, thank you, JJ. Truly, it is an honor, a privilege to be here with so many people on a regular basis. And the YouTube algorithm is constantly pushing this live to more and more people because the algorithm has decided that it's worth to get more people here. The majority swipe away in a few seconds. But there are those who stick around, and I've been told by these people that they were intrigued and later found that, hey, I have found a community here, and that's wonderful, and I deeply appreciate it. Those who give this channel a chance, to those whom this has some sort of value, be it, things that go on in the chat and the back and forth, or be it just any discussion of anything and the chaotic free-range element of the chat, which I love. I do love. I'm a non-religious American, 48 years old man, says Benchmaster. I have no interest in organized religion as a whole, but I find the conversation mentally stimulating and enjoyable. Yes, as do I, and that is exactly what this is about. So yeah. Rabbi Yaron Reuven has an hour-long documentary on Jewish hell, and it shows the sources that say hell can be eternal in Judaism, so eternal hell does exist. There are the 7 people, 4 kings and 3 commoners, that people say have no chelik la'olam haba, no share of the world to come, and they are in hell permanently. However, these are either Mishnaic teachings, Midrashic teachings, Talmudic teachings, and there is no such thing in the 5 books of Moses. There is no hell in the Torah. You do have Sheol, right, the underworld, but there is no Gehinam. There is no such concept. So, Rabbi Yaron Reuven is an Orthodox rabbi. His, kvodo b'mekomo munach, as we say in Hebrew, that his honor is there and it's his to keep. And I'm not going to go against him. I will say I disagree with him on that. And I have my own sources to cite. So you can call it a machloket, a difference of opinion. The question is it a machloket l'shem shamayim? Is it a difference of opinion and a controversy that is for the sake of the heavens? In other words, what do we know from Pirkei Avot, right? We know that a controversy that is for the right reasons can be sustained. It doesn't say that it's solved. It's said that it's sustained. Sofa lehitkayem. It doesn't say that a controversy for the sake of the heavens is to be resolved. It says that it is to be sustained. Sofa lehitkayem. It doesn't say sofa lehipater. So I believe that in this case it would be a machloket l'shem shamayim between myself and Yaron Reuven, between myself and those like me, and others who say that there is no hell, right? And people who say there is a hell, it is temporary. No, it is eternal. You're Jewish, right? Yes, I am. What is it? Hang on. Coming as the night, coming as a thief in the night. Great username, man. Yes, I am indeed Jewish, a Hebrew of the kingdom of Judah. And I'll remind you, all of the money you bring to this channel after YouTube takes its cut goes to charities here in Jerusalem. 100% of what ends up in my bank account, or I'll say 99.9, because sometimes a few agorot, a few cents, I need whole numbers, complete numbers. So anyway, 99.9% of your charity goes to organizations here in Jerusalem that serve East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem alike. Doesn't matter the religion, ethnicity, background. If you're in need, an individual, a family, they will take care of you. Those are the organizations that I donate your hard-earned money to every month. Thank you for the reply. Yeah, sure thing, man. Sure thing. LOL, you're a thief. What are you talking at? Charity, LOL. Yes, Zahak, and if you don't believe me, you can go to my community tab and look at the post. I put my analytics there, my bank account there, the receipts from the donations to the different places there, and you can look them up and see that that's what they do. So, if you want to call me a thief, by all means, I don't give two shits what you think. I really don't. But if you're going to say charity, LOL, yes, I believe charity is a good thing. I believe giving locally here in Jerusalem, no matter of a person's background or religion or faith or where they come from, if they are in need, to give to organizations that would serve them regardless of all of that is a beneficial thing. I believe in giving back to the community. I believe that this is part of what this channel is supposed to facilitate, which is why I give 100% of the ad revenue, super chats, super thanks, and super stickers to the organizations that I give to. And people have their insights on which organizations I should give to, and that is why I have an ongoing thing even right now. Last week, on the 21st, a week and a half ago, the money came in from June, $350, or just about thereof. And this week, hopefully, I'm going to give it to some sort of a charity or several charities here in Israel, here in Jerusalem. So you feel free to laugh. Feel free to laugh. Thieves don't do charity. Well, I'm an anomaly. I am a thief, according to you, right? The thieves, they stole it from us. Yes, I am a thief, and I give charity to places here in Jerusalem. But I'm only the middleman, right? I'm just the bagman. It's your hard-earned money, after YouTube takes its cut, that I give to charity. I'm just the middleman. 100% to charity after YouTube robs him. Well, YouTube doesn't rob me. This is a free platform. This is a free platform, right? So they take their cut, they take their share. What are you going to do? May my God bless you. Thank you coming as a thief in the night. I deeply appreciate it. I appreciate your positive vibration. Did any of your parents' children survive? Cable Dog says. Yes, all of them to the best of my knowledge. Thief in charity? Yes, Zahak. You can consider me a thief and still I can give to charity. Because you can think that I'm stealing everybody else's money. That's okay. I'm a thief. I'm stealing. I have no honor. Blah! But, the money that does come in through the viewers on this channel goes to charity. So both of those things can coincide. You can think that I'm a disgusting, nasty thief without honor, and you can understand that I cover myself with a good deed to appear to the world as if I'm charitable by giving your money to charity here in Jerusalem. So if you want to take it that way, sure, I'm a piece of shit. I am several pieces of shit. I'm talking like a nice, chunky, crunchy, left out in the sun with pieces of onion and corn in it, all right? That type of shit. Okay. Elite says, have a blessed day, everyone. A blessed day to you, too. I don't think you're a thief. I know you're a thief. Oh, my mistake. You know I'm a thief. Okay? What knowledge do you have of my thievery? Another super chat came in. Hold on a moment. This totally comes from Jesus Christ. Good for you. Well, it will totally go to charities here in Jerusalem after YouTube takes its cut. And I deeply appreciate it. Comb your beard, damn it, said Joria Lama. I'm sorry, I must have missed that before. Yes, I do occasionally comb my beard. Not today. Today I did not. Scrolling down in the chat. Scrolling down, how about that? Okay. You have the face and the genes of one, says Zahak. I see. So not only are you a hateful, bigoted racist, you're also proclaiming that among everyone here in the chat, Zahak says that I have the face of a thief and the genes of a thief. How ignorant, and I am saying this as an ignoramus myself, but truly, how ignorant, how much of an empty, sad, pathetic life would you have to live with such negativity to come on a live stream of some random dumbass on a Monday afternoon, call them a thief without knowing anything about them, other than the fact that they are Jewish with Jewish schnoz, and say that they are a thief and that they have the face and the genes of a thief. How does that even become a thing? How is it that this person here, Nihil Zahak 7112, how is it that it comes to pass that this individual, who presumably is a human, right, a normative human being like you, like me, for all intents and purposes, you wouldn't be able to single him out for any other reason, in the street? How is it that this person has this idea in their head that I have the genes and the face of a thief? Let us consider that. What kind of a life did Mr. Zahak have to undergo? What sort of experiences did he have to endure to have such bitterness, racism, bigotry, hatred, supremacy, self-aggrandizing because he thinks he knows me and that I have... What is it that he had to undergo and experience? I feel sorry for you, Nihil Zahak 7112. I feel sorry for you because I think that a big part of you, even though you may not admit it to yourself, I think you might be filled with hate, negativity, bitterness. I think that you have been touched, not physically, I think you've been touched by malevolent forces in life which cause you to see the negative in others. And I think that many times when we judge others for different things, we are truly seeing the flaws within ourselves, but are projecting it. And I think that in your projection against me, throughout this entire back and forth that we've been having, I feel sorry for you. I'm not saying that you need my pity, God forbid, but I feel sorry for you because I think that you've lived a very negative existence. I think that you have been touched by some deeply dark forces, and I hope that you're able to extricate yourself and move into the light. All right. You're no therapist. No, definitely I'm not a therapist. Definitely not a therapist. I'm not coming at it from a therapeutic modality. I'm simply, like I said, I call things like I see them. And from the back and forth that we have had here in the chat, this is my misguided and wrong, according to you, conclusion. I believe you might think it's wrong. The best way, says Viet Cong, to find out what's wrong with Nihil is to hand him a doll and ask where daddy pets him. Ouch. I have met a couple of trolls in real life, says Toda Salam. They look the part and they act like a walking comment section too. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Now, in all honesty, right? I might be mistaken. This guy could be a philanthropist, a loving and genuinely caring individual. This Nihil Hazak could be somebody who is living a righteous life, simply and humbly walking before God insofar as he perceives it, a person of character, of integrity, of honor. Maybe. Here, in this live stream, in this chat, he has not shown any of those characteristics. Other than the fact that he has stuck around and has been receptive to the back and forth. And that, yes, there's been a back and forth, relatively civil. So on that, yes, I'll give him that. I don't know the guy. I call it like I see it, and this is how I see it, and I might be very, very wrong. Very wrong. Do you eat kosher? Yes, I do. Veganism is kosher by definition, Josh. And I've eaten kosher all my life. I've never eaten non-kosher. Even when I was a carnivore, omnivore, vegetarian, and then vegan, yes. Hazak says, if you're no therapist, shut the fuck up. You are just a simple thief. First of all, it's thief with an F. And yes, I am indeed a simple thief. I'll give you that. Does that mean that I can have no insight into the human specimen that is before me and the zeros and ones manifesting in the chat? If you can't take it, don't dish it out. It's that simple. You don't want to fuck with me? Don't fuck with me. Fuck off. And by all means, stay. Let's have the back and forth. I love the haters. I love the trolls. I love the spammers. I love the Nazis. I love the insulters, the naysayers, the vitriol slingers. I love it. It's more engagement. It's a lot of fun, and I'm amused by how much you hate. It amuses me, and I feel sorry for you. So, and lest we forget, I did attend therapy under different modalities as a patient, and I've learned a thing or two about the human condition, and it has been my subjective human experience that people who are negative on the inside will many times want to manifest that negativity and project it on the outside. That's been my simple human observation. People in the chat, non-therapists, answer only if you're not a therapist, okay? Do you think that that makes sense? That a person who is negative on the inside will project that outwardly? Doesn't that make some sense? But, nihil hazak, I truly do hope that you are a man, or a woman, of honor, of integrity, of character, of morals and ethics, a philanthropist and a giver, an altruist, somebody who cares about their fellow man. But please do understand that from the bullshit you've been spewing in the chat, none of that is coming through. Not even a little bit. The only thing that is coming through is the fact that you're still here and we're engaging in discourse. And that is a good thing, because to keep the channels of communication open is paramount. And I thank you for engaging with me. You need more therapeutical sessions. I dare say I do, Hazak. On that we are completely agreed. I do need more therapy. Vegetarian is such a difficult commitment. I admire your dedication. Well, look, you know what? When I decided to go vegetarian, I never looked back. And later when I decided to go vegan, I never looked back. And if it should come to pass, and this is kind of what I'm aiming at in the future, when I go raw vegan, whenever that comes to pass, if I can deem it to be sustainable, then I'll go for it. Right now it's not sustainable. I would get sick pretty quickly, I think. So once it is sustainable and viable, I will go for raw veganism. That is what I'm shooting for, right? The very Edenic diet, right? That's what I'm shooting for. The admiration is misplaced. No need to admire the dedication. It's simply that I never looked back. You know, that's it. It's not even a question of me fighting against the desire to eat meat, fighting against the constant desire to eat fish and chicken and dairy and cheese and I don't know. I simply don't have that desire. I miss pastries. I miss dairy pizza, but I have no desire to partake of it because the light, right, of the Nazarite vow and the vegan Edenic aspect of it is so bright, and it's such a shining beacon of wonderment and of wonder that is what sustains me, right? That's why I have no problem letting my hair grow wild. I have no problem going vegan. I have no problem abstaining from wine, grapes, raisins, wine vinegar, alcohol. It's simply something I don't desire anymore. It's as easy as that. It would be a lot more difficult if I had the burning desire to engage and partake of all those things, and then I went, no, discipline. That would be great if I could pull that off. I'm very thankful that it simply came to pass that when I decided to let go of certain things, I was able to simply gently put them down, and that's it. And that's it. And I wish and I hope to do that with all of my vices or wrongdoings, that it will come to pass that I will be able to simply put them down. I had my time with you. You've served me well. Time to put you down now. That's it, and never engage again. Jews are vegans? No way. Some Jews are vegan. It's the way of the Torah. It's the way of the Torah. How do you give up latte and cheesecake and ice cream and chocolate croissants? Again, easily. Because because all of those are things to do with dairy. And I know what those cows are going through, and the factory farming. And even besides that, even if it was like a homestead and someone with their own cow, I simply think that veganism is the way of Eden, and the Edenic diet is the way for me personally. That's what I'm shooting for. That's what I'm aiming at. And more than that, I see that it very well agrees with me, and I am able to sustain, my health, my wellness, my productivity with the Edenic diet. It would indeed be a problem if I had to take tons of supplements and if I had bad blood work, and I wouldn't be able, and I was sick all the time or sickly, and when my mind, would be, but thank God, by the grace of the Most High God, it seems that veganism truly agrees with me, and I'm able to roll with it 100% with no caveats and with no, that's it. I was just able to put the cheesecake, the latte, the ice cream, and the chocolate croissants down, and that's it. I was able to do that somehow. Not because of me. That's simply my genetic construction, I suppose. You look the false Messiah, says Eagle. Well, I am not any Messiah, therefore I am not true or false. Messiah means anointed one. I am not an anointed one. I'm just a simple, dumbass Hebrew man in the Middle East with a phone and water and I had a cup of coffee. That's it. That's all I am. That's all this is. But if to you I look like a false Messiah, I'll take that as a positive thing. How do you view Canaanite religion? I don't know enough about the Canaanite religion. I know that it is a polytheistic religion with a whole pantheon of gods. I know that some gods' names were later taken to be part of the Hebrew. But as I've spoken of this before, right, we koshered them, so to speak. Yes, Jehovah and Yahweh ancient, yes, they are, right? Yod He Vav He, and El, and Elyon, and maybe a couple of other names of God were in the Canaanite pantheon. That is correct. And there is that idea among researchers and academics that the Hebrew people never had that exodus from Egypt. They simply were Canaanite tribes who disengaged from the pantheon and who took on the yoke of the one Hebrew God, thereby forsaking all those other false deities, taking some elements of them, but then attributing them to divine revelation rather than to a specific standalone deity. So that's my take on that, but I don't know enough about the religion itself. All right. You look sick and pale, says Zahak. Maybe I look it, but I'm not. I'm very healthy and well. I take B12 regularly. When I need to, I take vitamin D. I get my blood drawn and tested every single year to see that everything is on the up and up, and that everything is, and I'm not deficient in anything, and that I'm getting the nutrients that I need. I eat well. I exercise almost daily. So thank God. You might think that I look sick and pale. Thankfully, the pale thing, that's just my complexion. I can't do anything about that. I don't know if it's, I'm not using any filters or anything. This is, whatever, the camera that I'm looking at right now, that's the one that projects whatever onto you. And your monitor, if you're watching this on a screen, TV, computer, laptop, mobile, whatever, that's the way that you're receiving it. So if I look sick and pale to you, that's all well and good. I might be pale, but I'm definitely not sick. I'm pretty healthy, thank God. My health and wellness runneth over. May it remain so, may it be so. Eventually I will get sick and die, like everything else, right? Everything that lives dies. I hope that it will come at the very end, and that I will be able to sustain health and wellness for many, many more years to come. Or I can die 5 seconds from now from a brain aneurysm or an embolism that I didn't know was making its way to my, that's it, and that's done. You have a demon up your arse. First of all, yes I do. I have several demons up my arse. That's the way that I like it. Also, you're kind of taken away from your argument, Nihil Zahak, with all of the ad hominems. You might want to not be so on the attack with the ad hominems. Just saying. May you be as old as Methuselah. No. I don't want that. That was 973 years? 63? Methuselah. I think it's 960, 63, 73? I don't recall. But thank you, I appreciate that. Where did Rabbi Shmuley touch you? I actually, assuming you mean Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, I'll tell you where he touched me, not physically, but I've heard him speak on his book Kosher Sex. I'm very much on board with kosher sex, so that's where Rabbi Shmuley truly touched me. But I don't know, maybe if I would meet with him and we would embrace as brothers, maybe he would touch me over here, I suppose. But no. You look like a clown with this crown, says Minimalist. Yes, that is the idea. Obsessed Mr. Nihil Zak. Yeah, Niv, some people, it's like, what does Dave Chappelle say about the thong contest that he saw in some club? He said like something along the lines of, it was awful, but I couldn't look away. It was terrible, but I couldn't look away. Something like that. Yes, I do look like a clown with the crown. Coming like a thief in the night says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Matthew 11. Yeah, that's why I loved the gospel. I read the New Testament once in my life, only once. I loved the gospel. I truly did. The Acts, letters, Revelation, and all the other books, I didn't connect with them. Maybe people from other nations connect with them. I really did connect with the gospel. I loved the gospel. I thought it was really, really good. And because of things like this, Jesus does not say over there that he's God in this particular thing. What does he say? He's saying, follow my example. Do what I do. Take on a burden. Leave your stuff and follow me. Follow my example. I am gentle and humble in heart. Be gentle, be humble, and you will find rest, right? There's a bit from, I know it from Akira the Don, right? From Dune or something, which I haven't seen or read, but it's, seek freedom and be a captive to your own desires. Seek discipline and find your liberty. If you seek freedom, you become a servant to your whims. If you seek discipline, you can be free. And when you are gentle and humble, and when you learn, right? When you learn, and when you take the yoke upon you, the yoke of the Torah and the commandments, and that's who he's speaking to there, presumably, not to the nations, but to the Hebes, then yes, you will find rest for your souls. In the burden, in the yoke, in the discipline is the greatest freedom. In the commandments is the greatest liberty. In the constraints is the depths of being. All right. And once again, I deeply thank you for your contributions to this channel, all of which, after YouTube takes its cut, arrive at the doorsteps and the bank accounts of charitable organizations here in Jerusalem that serve East and West Jerusalem alike. Either you enslave your desires or your desires enslave you indeed. I don't even think it's you enslave your desires. You integrate your desires in a kosher way, right? To everything there's a time and a place. So know how to channel it in a way that makes manifest the unity of the divine masculine and feminine presence. Meaning, when you seek discipline and find your liberty, there is also the liberty to engage in those very things, okay, that you had in mind when you sought freedom. And yet you are disciplining them. You are giving them their proper time and place. What does King Solomon say? There's a time for everything under heaven. Lakol zman ve'et lekol chefetz tachat hashamayim. There is a time, right? To every season turn. There, right? To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. There you go. Burger King crown, says Real. See, I don't think that it is, but maybe. Welcome the stranger, says oh so very ordinary. Feed the hungry, love one another. Jesus, he didn't hate anyone. Yeah, you know what? That's like the basic. Isn't it the basic, the basis and the basic way to be in life? Isn't it? Isn't it? I think it just might be. Cooking, bro, preach. Thanks, West, though I'm not a preacher. I'm not a preacher or a teacher or an educator. I'm simply here having conversations with people. I'm not, some hand-waving, Bible-thumping, I don't know what. The king of idiots. Oh, yes, I definitely am, Sergio. I am the king of idiots. Although, Costanza is lord of the idiots, right? George Costanza. For I am Costanza, lord of the idiots, but I am the king of the idiots. That is true. I am a king. I am a king. I am a king of the idiots. Bow before me, my fellow idiots. What religious standing do you have? I don't know what religious standing means. Can somebody fill me in? I'm ignorant. Harold Leroux or Leroux, what is religious standing? Philonetic says you'd like Diogenes. Diogenes? Diogenes makes me think of Dionysus, but that's not, I don't think it's the same. I don't think that's how you spell Dionysus. Gonna guess Jew. Well done, dude, man. Well done. I know what you're good, says Wes. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. Okay. The sick. No, I wouldn't know. Philosophy. Okay, I got you. It is good to debate. Yeah, but I'm not a debater, right? I'm not a debater. I'm just talking to people. Religion isn't real, says Dude Man. I agree. There are facets of religion that we have brought into reality that may not have been real in the sense of the root of religion, and that people only misuse for their own nefarious purposes, right? Malevolence, wickedness, control, influence, power, authority, money, riches, wealth, control. I didn't mention control. Yeah, there is that facet. And those things are not the reality of religion. I see at the root of things religion as being a way to facilitate spirituality. And spirituality is that unique, pure, pristine connection between creation and creator. But over the course of all the generations and the degradations and everything that we humans get up to, so yeah, religion has gotten a bad rap. But I still will not throw that baby out with the bathwater, personally. Have a wonderful day, says Jake Blubbo. Or Bluebo. Thank you. You too, Jake. A wonderful day, a wonderful night, all of you out there. I hope you are having a great day and a great night. Right now, it is 1:20 here in Jerusalem, 1:20 p.m. Eiler is here. I guess religious standing is better than religious lying. Maybe, but I still don't know what religious standing means. Can someone fill me in? I don't know what that means. You are epic, Burger King man. Thank you, Stony the Clown. I appreciate a good harlequin. I appreciate the clownship. Coming as a thief in the night said he had to pray just like us, so we are without excuse. He came and lived just like us. Right? So yeah, I mean, you believe that he is a god in flesh. I do not believe he was a god in flesh, nor is he currently a god in flesh. On that we disagree. But there is no disagreement that something like what you wrote in the super chat from the book of Matthew has a ton of wisdom in it. So I don't take faith from the gospel. I do take wisdom from the gospel. That is, to be sure, the one time that I've read it. And other times that I've come across different things that people told me Jesus said, and people quoting Mark, Luke, John, and Matthew to me. And I say, you know what? There is wisdom there. And I found wisdom there, not faith, but wisdom. That much is true. Where the best falafel place near you? The best falafel place near me would be Falafel Oved on the Derech Beit Lechem, on the Bethlehem Road. That would be the best place. But even closer, possibly, is Hummus Talpiot. Yes, probably even closer. No, around the same distance. So the best falafel place near me is Hummus Talpiot. They have such great hummus, such great falafel. We had some before Shabbos, and I had some on Shabbos morning. Oh my God. Have you ever seen dreams that came true in real life? Yes, I have. Several times in my life, I have had literal dreams come true. Yes. Stony the Clown says, this is funny. There's a live feed of Gaza City, one scroll up. Yeah, you know, that's the way that this feed rolls. Respect the crown, says Raven Foxclaw. Yes, indeed. My finger smells funky, says Buck. Buck, where has your finger been? And is it funky in a good way? Is it funky in a bad way? Please do share. Does gold dissolve in mercury? I don't know enough chemistry. I do know that gold is very, very flexible in its elemental constituent. The atoms of gold can be broken apart more easily, right? The molecular structure of gold is not as, what is it? It doesn't weigh as much. I don't know. I haven't learned chemistry in such a long time. Dude is honest, though. Gotta love it. I try to be honest with all of my dealings and doings. I'm still not doing it 100%. But that is what I'm striving for, right? To be as honest, authentic, and forthcoming as I can possibly be. This is not a persona. This is actually me to the degree that I can be me. That's what this is. You remind me of John the Baptist. Thanks, S65467. Christians tell me that he took a Nazarite vow. And again, from my one single reading of the New Testament, the Christian Bible, it seemed that John the Baptist was a really, really great guy. So I thank you for the sentiment and for the reminiscence of someone you consider to be so high and mighty. I have them often as well. So I don't have them often that come true, but they have. Some very prominent ones indeed have come true for me. Call the painter, says Bubba's Juice. Which Bubba? Bubba from Bubblegum Shrimp? Call the painter. Yes, indeed. I believe he is dead, but I don't know. Your field trip videos are great, dispelling notions that Israel is unsafe now. Do you feel safe? I feel safe here all the time. Even when the rockets and missiles are flying, I feel safe. Are you a Jew? Mr. John says. Yeah. Yes, I am. A Heb of the kingdom of Judah. Have a good night, says Buck. And you. Do you watch The Chosen, brother? No, I don't know what The Chosen is. I've been told it's a new TV show. I don't do that, no. No, I don't. Is it any good? Let me know. All right. Is washing encouraged in Jews? Yes, it is. To keep the body healthy and clean and well is encouraged, whether it's the washing of the hands after the bathroom or before you partake of bread, whether it's the mikveh, right, the ritual pool that you go and immerse yourself in. Yes, washing and cleanliness is indeed encouraged in the Hebrew faith and in halacha. Okay, I think I'm going to say goodbye. Yes, I will say goodbye. People, this has been such a blessing, and I deeply appreciate your time, your attention, your encouragement, your participation, the likes and the subs and the views and the comments, the bad ones and the good ones, the trolls and the spammers and the haters and the Nazis, the people telling me to shave, the people telling me to kill myself, the people telling me I'm a murderer, a rapist. It's all good. I love it. Thank you for being here. Be blessed. Be a blessing to others. Be the light in other people's lives. Be the reason why people say, maybe there is still some good in the world. And I will see you on the next live stream, live from Zion, where the wonders never cease. If you want to hit me up in the DMs, Hebrew Nazarite, look for my tree. If I missed you in the chat, I'm sorry. The chat was going somewhat rapidly. So leave a comment. I do address every comment that is addressed to me that YouTube notifies me of. Why sometimes I even go and seek them without, because I know sometimes comments fall between the cracks. And I do believe that's it. A quick prayer for unity and love to reign supreme all over creation. May we, each and every one of us as individuals, as a collective humanity, may we be able to overcome our shortcomings, our weaknesses. May we be able to overcome our differences. May death, warfare, and bloodshed be lifted clean out of creation, even right now as I am speaking these words. May it be so. May the knowledge of God and the Spirit of God cover all flesh like water covers the seabed. May we be able to truly embrace each other in the humanity in which we were created, in that shared image of God that we are all created in. And may we love, may we live, may we thrive, may we prosper, and rejoice in each other instead of fight. Peace is better than war. Love is better than hate. Positive vibration is better than negative vibration. And may we be able to withstand the challenges and the tests and the vicissitudes, if that's the word, right, of fate. Later all, Jesus saves, he says. I would be inclined to agree that if he does not save as a Lord and Savior or God, he does save in the sense that if you follow in those footsteps of the ways that he preached, that would be a good life. Love your neighbor, love your God. Take on the burden, take on the yoke of the Torah and the commandments, of righteousness, of humility and simplicity. May it be so. Until then, peace and love from Zion.